I feel lonely even in the crowd. Every face, tired eyes, it's not for me. I wonder, how does my life go on? Many chances I've seen before, but no more. Somebody knocked on my door. I woke up feeling empty, like a hallway and away. Oh, sweet days have passed me by. There's no storm, it won't stop. I better wait more. Just everything about you. I can't stop myself. Something's just begun. Tell me why I will think about you. Don't go away. I will stay for you. Frustration hit me hard this morning. It's the light of my heart, and only I can see how much I want to wait for the moment. No place for me had hope, and now it's different. Sometimes it's hard for me, but everybody follows what they want. Don't you know, all sweet days have passed me by. There's no storm, it won't stop. Someone told me so. Okay, I think we're good. Just everything about you. Suck my cock, Nintendo. Don't go to sleep mode on me. Okay, save. Okay, I think we're good. Holy shit, the song is loud in my ear. Okay, turn my headphones down. Think we're good. I think. Okay, sent. Okay. Captions enabled. Chat's open. Fucking let's rock it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good day. Pleasure seeing you around. Hope your day's going well. We have Expedition 33 tomorrow. So, we're going to do a bit of theory crafting tonight, as I kind of need to get some theory crafting done for Xenoblade X. I think we're good to go. Oh, I need to open up notes. Okay. I have some notes of things I want to be on the lookout for. Hello, John, Jared, Hylia, Atlas, Fabuki. Welcome to the stream. Having a good day. I'm not trying to sing the way the song actually goes. How's it poppin'? Tailable, how about you? Good, thank you for the offer. This is the closest to glow sticks I can find as emojis. Thank you. Alright. There's a fuckload to actually break down when it comes to this game. There's a few things I want to put a bit of extra emphasis on. Alright. Few things on the order for the agenda tonight. the Xenoblade 1 references in this game. First of all, product provided by Nintendo. I gotta remember to do that again. Hold on, let me set the timer now so I don't mess this up later. Clock. I need 45 minutes. There we go. Nail it. Tough, we're doing karaoke now. We might do a Xenoblade karaoke stream soonish. Haven't decided. See, I'm kind of stupid. My throat is, like, sore, and I keep doing that. I mostly sing at the beginning of streams, like, to tune my throat. To be able to talk. Hello, Nick. Welcome to the stream. Hope you had a good day. Please see you go well. Age of Stars ending. Absolutely love that. You got the best ending. Let's go. Find me on VC as a demo. Okay. Things we're on the lookout for today. Obviously, we're going to be focusing a lot on, like, the timeline. Not timeline, the multi-universe stuff. THEORYCRAFT. Okay. Multiverse. Xenoblade 1 references. Okay. The way lyrics, I want to break those down as well. So I'm feeling they're going to be more important. Xenoblade 4. Right. Okay, what else do we need to talk? Oh, Ares Prime and Conduit. Conduit, right. Hello, Brandon. Welcome to the stream. And Wood, welcome to the stream. Over to good day. Which is to say, terrific. Love that. Yeah, how's it poppin', chat, by the way? How's it poppin'? Okay. So, one of the things I want to talk about first... the hairpin. So, back in the day, before Monolith made it abundantly obvious that all these games are connected, the belief was Xenoblade 1 and X are entirely separate. Lore-wise at the time, it was still kind of right because, well, they're different universes. However, the idea that the hairpin and, like, Tatsu referencing Frontier Village in that one line of dialogue, which I still need to find, by the way. I just know it exists. Also, Tatsu having Riki's weapons on his backpack there. From Xenoblade 1. There's a lot of references directly to Xenoblade 1. The initial belief there, and I even subscribe to this, was that these are just cheeky little references to their other game, right? That's the most logical thing at the time. However, what I want to explore a bit today is the idea that, in my belief, this whole story was planned. Because too much fits into place for me to believe they just fucking winged it. Right? It's possible they came up with this entire multiverse stuff like last Tuesday. It's possible. I don't kind of buy it. Thematically, like, all the symbolism, the metaphors, other words that make me sound intelligent. The release order. Like, everything about it, like, the whole vibe screams to me that this was all planned. Maybe not from Xenoblade 1, because they had to go back in Definitive Edition of Xenoblade 1 to change, like, Alvis's necklace to the Aegis Core Crystal, right? But when it comes to X, definitely feels planned. Because too many of the plot threads they showed in Original X, like the Black Knight who turned out to be Al, like the Ares Prime, like the ghost being a thing the entire time. it's making me second guess the idea that these are just cheeky little references to another game they made. And they may mean something a little bit deeper. I don't think it'll mean, like, anything, like, terribly important. I want to know what happened to Tatsu's Datapon. I just assumed they got his ass and brought him on board. I kind of just assume that, or they really do not like that guy. And they're just like, look, we're gonna make you the Heropon, we just really want you to leave. So, we're gonna glaze you up a bit, we'll call you the Heropon, go out over there, over yonder, just away from us, preferably. If largely involved or not with Xenoblade 4. Didn't he, like, do interviews, like, before, like, after 3 came out that he's, like, not going anywhere or something? Or that he has, like, plans for the next, like, chapter of Xenoblade? I'm assuming that's not just a definitive edition. I don't see why Takahashi would go anywhere unless he just was like, look, I'm old, I'm out of here. Because it's like, the ending of Future Redeemed and X Definitive Edition screamed to me, yeah, we got something cooking for the future. So I don't see the director, like, this guy's love child, essentially, going, okay, I have now teased it, I'm gone. I just don't see that. Maybe Datapon tried to fight the gangland. Yeah, man went mono-y-mono against the Great One, Void. With the little things. Well, this is what I was thinking, right? I might need to pull up paint. Hold on. I need to get paint open. That was the thing I was forgetting. Okay. I need paint open. Okay. Dude, the singing stream actually... there's a skill I do want to get better at. Okay. My mind goes a million miles an hour, by the way, when I'm theory crafting. Alright. With me, you getting lessons. Hylia, we might have to do that at some point, because I would like to get better at singing. I just find it fun. I normally sing at the beginning of streams to, like, tune my voice, because I do not talk for most of the day. I know I talk a lot during videos and streams, but, like, outside of that, I barely talk at all. I'm like a quiet guy IRL. I know, that might be hard to believe. I just do not speak. So, like, at the beginning of the stream, I'm like, dude, I gotta remember how to actually talk. It's a good way to, like, tune my voice. Hello, hello, ESRN, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I didn't even, like, realize about Tatsu's Datapon just being, like, MIA. Alright, so. We have... Cocksucker. Alright, there we go. That's a straight line, by the way. True and real. Okay, we got, like... I'm not going to include Saga right now, because we don't know the legality of that. Alright, so we have, like, the timeline slash universe, whatever we want to call it, of 1, 2, 3. I should really just say 1, 2, because 3 is, like, obvious. You know what? I'll just say 3. So we have the timeline of 3, and we have the timeline of X. So we know we have, like, Earth here, that Klaus split. They directly called it Earth. Unless I'm just, like, misremembering this. Like, we know that 3 had an Earth, that Klaus split, and it formed the world of Xenoblade 1 and 2, right? Chat, does Xenoblade 1 have a rectangle energy or a triangle energy? That's the real question. I'm thinking rectangle energy. Okay, that's not where I wanted to type. Yep. Alright. And then Xenoblade 2 has a triangle energy because Vex ends up with 3 wives. It all works out perfectly. Okay. Then we wind up at Ionios, which I'll make a star. Dude, my fan is blowing right into my goddamn eyeball. Hold on. My eyeball is about as dry as a Sahara right there. Alright. Then we got 3. Cocksucker. Alright, there we go. So this is like the rough timeline of Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3. Was it ever explained how or even why the universe is split? Yes, it was in Xenoblade 1 and 2. Basically, there was this dickhead guy. His name was Klaus. He used the powers of the conduit to split the universe for the vibes. You may think I'm, like, exaggerating that. It's kind of what happened. Hello, little Spiff and Goose and Cindy. Welcome to the stream. Have a good day. Martha has United States written on some wall, so it should be Earthen too. Thank you. 3 should be a circle or a Boros. Fuck, you're right. Alright, hold on. Fake Xenoblade fan, hold on. We need a circle. I can do you like an elliptical. Alright. So ordinarily, when I make a square text box, right, you would think the text would go in the middle. But no, bitch, it goes over here. Alright. So this is like roughly the timeline of Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3. We start with Earth. Klaus is a dickhead, so we get Xenoblade 1 and 2. Actually, he's a real one for that. Then eventually we get 3. They split again. I need this to be bigger, dude. Can I, like, expand this? Why am I using paint? Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, dude, this is big. Hold on. I can make it bigger? Dude, if only that worked out. Alright. Excellent. Alright. Now we're cooking with something. I don't know what we're cooking with. We're cooking with something. I'm finally ready for the Switch 2 pre-orders. Yeah, I'm ready for the cutoff date being, like, right before I actually started playing my Switch again. Alright, now. So we had 3, then at the end of 3, it splits up again. Right? So we get 2 baby worlds, hold on. Get a baby square and a baby triangle. These worlds don't last long, they get aborted, like, early on. Then they combine again into the Future Redeemed world. Not like the location where we played in Future Redeemed, but like at the ass end of Future Redeemed. Pinged you an X spoils from the timeline theory. Thank you, thank you. Holy mother of God. Alright. Wasn't expecting this to be formatted for Discord. That's incredible. Oh my God, this is so legible. Thank you. Is that just the last cutscene? Yes, this is just the planet. I'm gonna put a ring around it. It's like that one song. You should have put a ring on it. I'm gonna put a ring. Okay, that looks like a vagina. Hold on. Looks like a dress. That's like a dress that. Hold on. That's an E. That's an N. And that's a D. Alright. Lock in. So this is the timeline for 3. We start with Earth. Klaus splits this bitch. Yeah? Big K. Splits it. Like a digestive tract when you have, like, Special K. We get Xenoblade 1 and 2. Later on, we get to 3. Then they split off again. But then they, like, rejoin after 5 minutes. Because they realized separating was, like, dumb. And we get the world at the end of Future Redeemed. Made their own civilization. You're cooking. I like that. Wait. Okay, there's things we need to add X. Well, the thing is, we kind of know the timeline for X. We know it takes place after 3 because of the cutscene with Al, where he sees the events of 3, 2, and 1. So we know at least Xenoblade X takes place after the flute swap scene in 3. before Future Redeemed, yes. Xenoblade 1 and 2 take place in, like, the same world that got split into 2 different dimensions, but they take place concurrently. We know that because of the end of 2, we get a line of dialogue from Xenoblade 1 as it's happening in real time. Then, we get Ionios where the worlds come together again. I mean, you split after 3. Yes, at the ass end of 3, like, that's the ending of original 3, is the world split again. And it's only when we get to Future Redeemed do we learn that after they split, they come back together again to form the new world. 1 second. Let me pop up the... I have all this, like, recorded. Xenoblade 3... DLC, Future Redeemed Chapter 5. Alright. This is, like, when the world split. We know it's Earth because this is Jupiter. Right, that was the... Okay. Right, they show us Jupiter here. So either this is a massive bait and swap. And it's just like, here's a nice shot of Jupiter. It doesn't actually mean anything, but he's Jupiter. Then we have the worlds after the events of Xenoblade 3 splitting apart. Interesting how, like, the visual here is almost like 2 smaller planets here. And, like, a gravitational distortion on the outer edge. That makes it like most of it. It kind of looks like a fidget spinner, kind of. And then they fully separate. And the end of X. Is it 2.5 years? Do we know when that's confirmed, Deoceran? I'm not doubting you. I just want to know if that's confirmed. Like, what are we waiting on? Yeah. Right. Then they do the interlink visual, right? Which is why I've always hopped on that this is an interlink, because it's just the interlink visual. And then we get the new planet. Important to bear in mind that there's no ring here. I don't think that actually matters. Look like some more up here. They're gonna try to put it in the timeline. I would like to. I haven't played Xenosaga, so I'm gonna have to rely on you guys for any holes that might be filled with Saga. Hello, Infant. Welcome to the stream. By the way, I do want to play Saga at some point in the not too distant future. We'll find a way. Yeah. Yo, anyone got like a totally legit legal copy of Xenosaga 1, 2, and 3? You're like, totally. And then, by the way, I'm convinced this is the White Whale too. 1, it wouldn't make any fucking sense for it not to be. Unless it's Cosmos, which I just don't think it is at this point. I think that was supposed to, like, symbolize Cosmos making it home. But also, it's the same fucking color as, like, the exhaust from the White Whale too. Right? Like, it's like... I don't know if it's the exact red color, because I'm a little bit colorblind, but it, like, looks the same. Or at least mostly the same as it would from that distance. From the orbital stations. I don't know if I buy that. I think there's a very simple explanation for the ring. Because rings can form throughout a planet's life. The source is I'm an astrophysics major. I think their main thing here is they didn't want to add the ring here because there was no ring visual for these 2 planets separating. They just wanted the visual for this to be like 2 planets separating. And if they added a ring at this part, it wouldn't look like, not symmetrical, but it wouldn't look natural, if that makes sense. Plus, it could have easily just been a massive time skip from this part to this part. Right? Like, we don't know how long it goes from this to this. It would look off, absolutely. Also, hello, Mario. Welcome to the stream. Have a good day. Represent both Cosmos and the White Whale. I'm 100% right there with you, Hylia. I think at the time of Future Redeemed, this was absolutely supposed to represent Cosmos, symbolically making it home. Because at the end of Xenosaga 3, to my knowledge, is Cosmos eventually makes it back home to Lost Jerusalem, which is what they call Earth in that universe. After the debris of the elevator motor was said to orbit the Earth in 2's ending? Possible. It's also possible that it was like an asteroid that hit the Earth or something blown up in like Earth's atmosphere. Or like there was a moon or something that also got destroyed. Basically just got ripped apart by Earth's atmosphere. Like that kind of stuff can happen over the course of a planet's lifetime. Yellow is on Persona on Ontos. Yeah, I saw that comment, Infant. Thank you. This angle, though, is like 5 kinds of suspicious to me. Because we know from the end of X Definitive Edition that there is a ring on this planet. From this angle specifically, because we know this is when like the White Whale 2 is supposed to be coming to this planet, almost certainly, because the angles pretty much match up. But from the angle of this camera, I think it leaves out the ring deliberately. Like, the ring of this planet would be, like, right off the camera. To show the White Whale being in a new universe. It's possible that the White Whale 2 ends up at a different planet. That's not, like, outside the realm of possibility. There's only one real way, or, like, one real reason I think Monolith would do that. And that is if Xenoblade 4 takes place on multiple planets. That's the only reason I would think they would do that, is if we go space traveling. Which I think is like a leap too far. I think we go to atmosphere, though. Hello, and Grizz, and yes, welcome to the stream, and 10,000 Noodles, welcome to the stream, have a good day. Congrats, yes, congrats. How's it poppin'? How's it terrible? How about you? Alright. Right. So the timeline. Alright. Now for X. We have X's Earth, which is a different Earth. I'll use lowercase Earth for this. Then, it goes kablammy. I'll use the star for this. I'll make it red as well. So Earth gets absolutely bodied. And then they make it to Mira. Here's my question. And I want to know if any of you guys have an answer to this. Because this is like a group THEORYCRAFT session. So I think it'd be fun. Do we know how long this took? How long it took for them to leave the Earth and then wind up at Mira? Make the star purple? You're cooking, hold on. I think that's purple. Sure. Take care, Mario. 2 years. Oh yeah, they do say it like at the very beginning, don't they? Alright, so from this to this, 2 years. That is not that fucking far. Like, Yeah, even if they were going near the speed of light, they're not making it that far. Like, 2 light years in a cosmological sense is like nothing. And game starts 2 months after the crash. That's still not that far. What's the closest star to us again? It's like 150 light years away, isn't it? Closest star to Earth. Yeah, it's Proxima Centauri, which is 4.2 light years away, so they couldn't even make it to another star. Hello, hello, Izanami, welcome to the stream. And True Hellfire, welcome to the stream. They also jumped universes. See, this was what I was thinking. I'm not locking in this theory, anything, I want to spitball it. Because we know that Mira... I gotta finish the timeline for this to make sense. Then Mira gets fucking annihilated again. And they wind up at what we assume for right now, for the sake of argument, we'll just say is the future redeemed world. For the sake of argument right now, this is not important right now to this theory. We know this Earth is in a different universe to this planet, which is in a different universe to this planet. It's 3 different universes. Right, the time dilation is also going to lead into this point here. My thing is Mira supposed to be like the Earth stand-in for that universe? It's just like humanity didn't evolve on Mira, and some weird alien shit happened. And we wound up with Mira instead of like a modern Earth. Because they could easily have just been, like, stuck in, like, a weird, like, time bubble thing when they jumped universes. Because we also don't know how, necessarily, if that's an effect here, how long this took either. We don't know. There's a few... Right, okay, now I'm remembering... Wow, my memory is dog shit. Now I'm remembering why I started yapping on about this to begin with. I am of the opinion that they knew of all what, at least like most of what they wanted to do for the longest time. Especially when it concerns Original X. I'm starting to doubt the idea that the Monado hairpin on Lin and Tatsu having the Riki weapons on his backpack, and I think he also mentions like Frontier Village. I'm starting to doubt the idea that these are just supposed to be references. Like, it borderline feels... I don't know what it's supposed to mean. Tatsu says Hom Hom as well. Thank you! Right, I forgot about that. He says Hom Hom in Chapter 12. Aren't there Monados in the majority of casual clothes? There are as well. Right, I think it's even on my character. Hold on. Yeah. You can see it right there. On my guy on my tank top. It's not exactly the Monado from Xenoblade 1, but it's like if you drew one from memory. But we also know that there is a connection up to this point in time between the world of X and Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3. They both had access to the conduit at some point. And you may be going, well, the conduit was with Ancient Samar, right? Well, the juice of it was in the Ares Prime, which Elma had, and she brought that to Earth. The Nopon being on Mira is like the biggest giveaway for me. Because it's like, oh, are the Nopon just like some kind of constant? Yeah, the Nopon were native to Mira. At least to my understanding. And not both are kept both. It's such a weird choice. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Could have been displaced from Ionios to Fogrifts. Possible. It's the kind of Nopon to dance at a funeral. True. It's just, there's a lot of imagery directly from 1 when it comes to X. I'm not really buying it any longer that it's just supposed to be a tongue-in-cheek reference. Because X has a lot of fucking foreshadowing in it. Right, we know it's not the same Earth. That's integral to the code. Yeah. It's like, to me, Mira's borderline supposed to be like a what-if when it comes to Earth in this other universe where it's just way more alien and it didn't have humanity. Because there's a lot of creatures on Mira that look like if aliens or something modified existing Earth animals and they just went down a different evolutionary path. Like dinosaurs, if kind of. Maybe they made Xenoblade X and made that scene and wait for 2 to 3 to release to continue X's story in the chapter 13 in some way. Wasn't there an interview? I no longer have it bookmarked. I think there was an interview way back when. It was like Takahashi saying this shit was planned or something. Or not like exactly in those words. It's like he wants to like continue X at some point. It was years ago. Instead of the Klaus experiment. Yeah, that's for, like, the Earth from the beginning of X. I'm talking Mira. Hello, Little Rusty. Welcome to the stream. Have a good day. In games, welcome to the stream. Of the universal sister, I think origin could be too, and that the natural Ionios for the cosmos is, in fact, Mira. Yeah. God, Chapter 13 is crazy about information dense it is. There's so much in it, dude. And they just, like, drop heaven at the very end of it. Yeah, Blades are like evolved titans when it comes to Xenoblade 2. Is a canon character divine deity born from the rift with the ability to open gates between them? Honestly, wouldn't surprise me. And that information could have been lost through the generations. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that at some point in the distant past, like a portal opened up and a group of Nopon made their way to Mira. But it would have had to be in the distant past because the Nopon are fucking everywhere on Mira. Like, they're even in Cauldros for some reason. In fact, I want to see a map of Mira. Right, it's like... Mira's, like, largely kind of thin when it comes to, like, the landmass here. You have, like, this crescent moon. Then we're, like, touching tips with this other continent. And, like, that's it. We just have, like, some scattered islands. Oh, yeah, the beginning cutscene from 3. We should watch that again. Luckily, I have all this, like, recorded. Right, so this is beginning of 3. Flat Mirans are being... validated looking at this map. Why is it no audio? Oh, it's just like way quiet compared to the game. Okay. Fireworks, right. Time stops, but not for Noah. Definitely physically based on Void. Yeah, there's a lot of like connections between Zed and Void in terms of visuals. If you fly to the edge or wrap it back around, I can try that. I imagine it's an invisible wall. We see the worlds coming together. Yeah, we see the worlds coming together here. This is supposed to be the world from Xenoblade 1, so the world in the distance should be the world from Xenoblade 2. Do we know where the clue system lies in? The same universe as Mira or somewhere else? That's the thing. Because it seemed as if, throughout Xenoblade X, what they were kind of implying is that as people got close to, like... Imagine if all the I think Klaus says this in Xenoblade 2, like, all the universes are, like, on top of each other or something. So, like, it felt as if everyone that got close to Mira just got, like, warped to that world. Void's real name should begin with a Z. This is my other thing. I called this out, like, back during the trailers. This looks a lot like the final, like, boss room from Volataris, right? Like, that central, like, tower in the middle of Volataris where Void is. It looks like Alchemoth if you, like, remove these, like, outer frisbee things. Like, it kind of looks like that. That or a PlayStation 5. Try to open Void's initial prison. I joined the bad guy's side and tortured myself to his... Oh my god. I remember. Yeah, there's like other shit in the outside edge here. They show us the worlds coming together to form Ionias. And then we get Ionios. And then we get those events. Which graphically do look different from DMAT events. DMAT events are like blackish purple. These are like a bright white or bright light. God, this opening cutscene was so cool. Okay. What's the other cutscene I need? Loved your video. Thank you, Infant. Thank you. When we do get a follow-up for X, I wonder... They do with more with Professor B, or they say as soon as they land, he just left in the Mirror Reveal 2.0. I like the fact that, like, we kind of found out why he couldn't, like, go back forward in time, because there just wasn't a future for Mira. As to what literally happened in 3. Possible, I just don't know if Monolith would do that. I need a cutscene. Where is it? I need the big one from chapter 13. Oh my god, so many videos for X. I think it was in Act 1. Cause and effect. What you got? What do you have? What you buying? What you selling? Thank you.
Walker.
Gotcha.
Where's the cutscene?
After we
Encore. A way for us to do that.
to say now, son.
Your orders. Until we have a strategy in place.
No, it's Act
Chapter
2, Part
13,
1.
Act 2, the second.
Shut up, me.
An LA.
It's this cutscene. And he traveled dimensions and not time. That would be very interesting. I don't know if they'll ever do Professor B stuff again, though. I kind of hope they do.
And just as my goose seemed cooked,
God, he said that.
something opened up in front of me. And also,
When
I
those
felt this
beams
huge
collided.
pull at the same time. My body inside the Ares. We were being sucked right in through the opening.
Right. And you got transported to this
Beyond that was a
place.
sight to behold. If space could have edges, that was a place where you could see them all. Thinking about it now,
Just one is more intense. It's possible. It's like... There's clearly something more when it comes to the ghosts, right? The ghosts feel to me like they're being built up to be like... an antagonistic force in the future. Because, like, what are they after? They're after the Ares Prime. But why are they after the Ares Prime? It's because the Ares Prime has conduit juice in it. Because the ghost only showed up after the Ares Prime got the cores with conduit juice. At least from what I recall. So it's not like the ghosts are just like, fuck, dude. They left this universe? Dude, I guess we gotta leave them alone now. They're clearly going to, like, come after us again in the future. Because we still have the Ares Prime. The ghosts are really faceless as a threat. I think it's because we just haven't seen the face yet. It's like either they are just supposed to... Oh my god, I'm fucking muting my phone. The ghosts are like one of two things. Either there's some guy in charge of them all, like a hive mind sort of deal, or they're like the white blood cells of the multiverse, and they just detect threats, and for whatever reason they identified the Ares Prime with the conduit juice as a threat that has to be stuffed out. I saw someone leave a comment, I think on the hot take video, or like one of my other videos, where it's like, why didn't we just give the Ares Prime to the ghosts? I think, one, they never asked for it. I think part of what the ghosts are doing is just trying to eliminate anything and anyone involved with it. So it's like, oh, you guys have this like thing deemed as a threat, we're gonna wipe you all out. Like, no one can know of this. Boom. Elma's planet had the Ares for a long time, but didn't react at all until Void came knocking. What is the criteria for them to appear? True. Did the Ares Prime have the No, it's the Ancient Samar had the conduit. They then pumped the juice into the Ares Prime, and eventually it wound up at Elma's world. But that's the thing, the ghost showed up in X on Mira before Void did. Well, no, they didn't. Because Void was there, he was just in the mech. He was just not awake yet. He only woke up after the ghost showed up. Samah's a multi-dimensional civilization, and the different races are all from different Samah Federation across the multiverse. Yeah, they did, like, really hype up the fact that it's like, look, you guys don't know how big Samah actually is. They're massive. So if, like, they learned some kind of technology to hop between multiple different universes or dimensions or whatever, product provided by Nintendo, it wouldn't particularly surprise me. Because, like, that was a lot of world building they did with the Neil Nail quest that just kind of doesn't matter anymore because the universe is gone. The Ares is a conduit emulator? Yes.
Parallel universes. It was like the backstage of space, the border town of all universes.
We know his terminology here is a bit misleading because we know Xenoblade 1 and 2 and 3 on separate universes. They're separate, like, mini dimensions. So we know Al's, like, maybe it's the localization, but, like, there's something misleading about the dialogue. I think it's a case of unreliable narrator. I think he's close to the truth, but I don't know if he's, like, at the whole thing. Like, this is what they do a lot in Chapter 13. It's like, they tease a bunch. It's like, we have the beach from Xenosaga, I think that's what it's from, right? With, like, Lao and Al. We have, like, the stream of feathers at the end when they're jumping from Mira to the world from Future Redeemed at the very end. And what they call heaven. It's like they open up a lot of questions that, to me, feel like they're leaving them on the table to be picked up and explained more in the future. And I don't think what Monolith is doing is just saying, go play Xenosaga to find all this shit out. I think they want to properly address this more in the next game. It's kind of proof that Mira is like Ionio's dumping ground of the multiverse. Very good point, yeah. You could be talking about other dimensions too. There are multiple Vitas with several dimensions. Having one that was created in Void moves his soul to a different one when a dimension is destroyed. I mean, maybe? I think there's one element to, like, the whole multiverse stuff I don't think Monolith will ever really do. I don't think they'll ever do the case where it's like, we have a Rex here. That's an R, by the way. I call it the superhero effect. I don't think they will ever do this. Where there's like, hey, there's a Klaus in this world, and there's a Klaus in this world. I don't think they'll ever go for a multiverse like that. They've been kind of deliberate, where it's like the only name that gets repeated is Vandom, and they're still different characters. I don't think they'll ever go, like, the superhero route when it comes to the multiverse stuff. I think the closest they'll do is having individual characters jump between different universes. Because it's kind of just the plot of X. I don't want that kind of multiverse ever. Yeah, I just don't think they're going to do that. Void was kind of like the Samah's class. I don't know if I would make that direct comparison. He's like probably the closest thing the X timeline slash this whole shit probably has to a Klaus. But even then, the goals and motivations are different. Like that with versions. Yeah, I just don't see that happening where it's like, oh, dude, Rex dies. What are we... Oh, dude, you'll never believe it. Rex dies. Oh, no. Cringe. L. Ratio. Good news, though. We have a Rex from this universe. So we can bring him in. I don't think they'll ever do that. That's not the vibe I get from the storytelling. Claim to face Xenoverse before them. That Samar was a multidimensional civilization, so he had followed across multiple of those dimensions. Yeah, it's like, what you're talking about, Marmite, is like probably the closest I could see them doing. Where it's like... For instance... You have... Fuck me. You have Void. And it's just like... In different dimensions, like they found technology to jump dimensions because we know it's possible. And we know Samar was hyper advanced. He just had like... Vitas. In each of the... in like a lot of the different dimensions. So if he ever just wanted to jump, he just had to, like, transplant his consciousness from one to the other. I don't know if they're going to do that, because that leaves the window open for Void coming back in the future, and I don't see that happening. The death they gave Void in Chapter 13 felt very final to me. That doesn't feel like a long-term character. But it's like, I could see them doing something like this, at least in the future, maybe. But even then, I kind of think they're probably done with the whole, like, going with multiple universes and stuff like that. I think it was all just an excuse to get X into the timeline. Like, that's my gut instinct. Is the whole multiverse stuff was just an excuse to get X in the timeline. To get us from, like, this separation. To like that. Fuck me, dude. To like this. Move Future Redeemed over here. Like, that's what I think the whole multiverse stuff is. I think it, like, lives in... I think it, like, begins and ends for this reason. Is it's just a reason to get, like, both of them, both of these different, like, lines, onto the same place. Does that mean we're done with the conduit? I don't think so. I don't think we'll ever be done with the conduit because we have the Ares Prime. It's like, so long as the Ares Prime is still a feature of the story, which I think it's going to be in 4, it's like, we have the conduit there to some degree, because the conduit's energy is in the Ares Prime. And formed into the Ares core. That's my kind of thinking, Infin. If, like, I think the true conduit emulator are, like, the Trinity processors. They're not really using their own power, they're, like, siphoning off power from the conduit, kind of-ish. Sort of. But, like, the cores for the Ares Prime is just, like, we took a chunk, and we just put it in this thing. It's like we grabbed the glass, we took, like, a glass of water out of the ocean, and we put it in the Ares Prime. Yeah, I think the Project Exodus thing in the radio scene from Future Redeemed, I think that was just a reference. I think that was just a reference and pretty much a tell for Monolith telling us we remember Xenoblade X. I think that was their intention there. It was to start conversation around X in general. But also to establish, in the long scheme of things, that there are various things like naming conventions that carry over between these different Earths. It's like Blade is a thing we've seen multiple times now. We have seen Project Exodus from back here. Project Exodus. And also Project Exodus. But they're two different Project Exoduses. Do you think we should still have Ouroboros forms in the next game, even though the worlds are fully combined now? I'm gonna do you one even better. I think we're gonna get interlinks between skulls. One, I think the scale mechanic is going to be fine-tuned for the next game. I think the Racevelg is the biggest tell for me in this regard. The Racevelg feels like a beta test. where it's like we want to test out other variants of skulls and gameplay styles with skulls. We don't want to go full beans with it yet because it wouldn't work with X. But we want to, like... We want to just, like, experiment a little bit so we can go full beans with it in the next game. I think we get Voltron mechanics in Xenoblade 4. That's that's like one of my early theories for Xenoblade 4. I think we go Voltron. I need more space. Right, I can just do this. Bazinga. Yeah, so I think in 4, I think we see the return of skulls. Interlink skull sounds kind of crazy. Well, we kind of got, like, a variant. It wasn't, like, exactly an interlink, but they were absolutely going for, like, a parallel with Al, Lau, and Cross in the Ares Prime. I'll show the exact visual. Hold on. I'll show you guys the exact visual, because I spotted this shit immediately during the playthrough. Hold on. The time-traveling professor. We'll be talking about him a lot. Alright, where the fuck... I always forget the timestamp for this. I think it's, like, right here. Yeah. At the end of Future Redeemed, when they did that multi-person interlink to form, this guy. Notice the cores. Also, I want to just pay attention to, like, where the cores are on this body. Alright. Now that I've shown that, I need the ending of Chapter 13. I have that. Where are you? There you are. Look at the visual imagery. I don't think it's necessarily an interlink, but they're trying to draw a connection here between an interlink and the Ares Prime. Or, like, whatever the fuck this is. Which is still, in my opinion, one of the coolest things they've ever done. Yeah, it's like the cores are, like, at the exact same place. It's like, that screams deliberate imagery to me. Golden Motes 2 representing life. Isn't this the same color as, like, those events from the beginning of Xenoblade 3 we watched earlier? Where it, like, wasn't a DMAT event, it's just, like, things phased out of existence. I don't see Blade and Saga being connected. It would depend if they want to get the IP from... Here's my thing when it comes to Saga. I think even if they're not technically allowed to, I think they want it to be, like, considered canon. It's just I don't know how much they'll actually make use of it in the future. Outside of, like, the beach scene or, like, various references to it. And stuff like that. Coming to this Nexus. There's so many things to question. I need the paint. Right, so for 4, I think we get the skull mechanic, but I think they go a step further. That's the worst arrow I've ever drawn. I think they go a step further than this, and we get, like, Voltron. Like, a combined skulls together. I don't think it'll use, like, the lore interlink. But I think they're going to combine the gameplay mechanics. where it's like, oh, if you like interlink various skills in your party together, you already have the tech for like interlinks and how that can work because of 3. You just combine that with the skull idea. You add a visual of the skulls coming together and forming something bigger. And it's like, you just combine the 2 mechanics. So you just combine 3 and X. Like, this feels like the natural, like, evolution of these mechanics. To me. Oh, also, I think at some point we go to space. Volataris, to me, feels like them doing a beta test for an open world space zone. That's what that zone feels to me, because it's pretty much just like a space zone with a different color palette. Like, mechanically speaking, that's like what Volataris largely is. Was a tandem skull, interlink as fuck? Yeah, exactly. The Ares Prime was a tandem skull. There's a lot of connections they're drawing between interlinks and skulls, but like specifically the Ares Prime. So what Saga wished it was. I don't know if space travel is likely. I think the setting is the world from the end of Future Redeemed and X. It's like, I think the setting for... The fuck was that? Hold on. Oh, yeah. It's like, I think that's a setting for Xenoblade 4. Because it feels to me like Xenoblade overall has been a story of setting up this specific setting. It's been an origin story, get it, for like that planet. And we just get that origin story from different perspectives. We get the formation of it, and then another group of people that brings a bunch of alien shit to it that will populate it for Xenoblade 4. So we can combine the aesthetics of Xenoblades 1, 2, 3, but also with the alien shit from X. Because they deliberately took time out of Chapter 13 that was as packed with lore and, like, plot as it was. They deliberately took time to have us go on a fucking side quest, essentially, to go catalog stuff from each of the zones of Mira. That, to me, screams, we want to reuse some of these assets, or at least, like, the feeling and the aesthetic here. We need a lore reason for it to work. Go have the player do this shit for, like, 5 minutes. That's what it screams to me. Is they want to combine, like, elements from all the Xenoblades up to now to create this one unique setting. So we can have, like, the story of this world unravel over multiple games. For Xenosaga 3, maybe Cosmos landed there. I think... I'm starting to come to the idea that I think each of these endings, Future Redeemed and X, reference Xenosaga as like a wink wink nudge nudge in different ways. In Future Redeemed, we think the blue dot going to the planet at the end is a reference to Cosmos, right? Because fucking duh. That was just like pretty much the ending of Xenosaga, right? Now we're like at least I'm pretty sure that it's the white whale too. Partially because the exhaust is the same fucking color. This also, it's coming at like the exact same angle as was shown in Future Redeemed. It's like the camera angle is like right over here, but zoomed in a bit, and like the white whale's closer to entry. That's where you don't see the ring. To repopulate the planet. Yeah, I think like what they're trying to do is like set up this new world, whatever they end up calling it. They might just call it Earth for the vibes. I kind of think they probably won't. I hope to God they don't just call it Earth 2. They must have known during development. Yeah, I still think there was a time skip. I think there was a time skip between when they showed the zoomed out planet in Future Redeemed and when they zoomed in. I think the rings formed afterwards. Also, there's an artistic reason for this. Let me, like, oh my god. Please. I need some thickness. Alright, there we go. Alright, thickness has been achieved. I think there was a few things they did. We have 3 future redeemed. Let me line this up better for you all. And then we have X, D, E. Oh god. 3, they like tease it. 3's ending is a massive tease. Where it's like, the worlds are splitting apart, it's supposed to feel bittersweet, they all get their future, but they're separated, right? But, hey, Noah recognizes the off-seeing tune, and the dude just disappears. So he went somewhere, where did he go? 3 leaves us with questions. Also, Mio just says we'll meet again. So, we just get a tease, and we just get questions. In Future Redeemed, we see the planet's form. So we see the world, and we see the blue dot. That's what we get in Future Redeemed. Ignore how this, like, looks like titties. And then in Definitive Edition, we get, like, that perspective. But also, they show us the ring. I think it's like a gradual reveal of the setting for Xenoblade 4 and beyond. That's what I think they're going for artistically there. Is anything but a rendering error. You wouldn't make a rendering error like that for your MC in a cutscene filled with other jobbers you could easily delete instead. Noah disappearing was 1000% intentional. If there was a rendering error and they just had too many NPCs on the screen, you could just delete someone else no one cares about. But they chose to delete Noah. That dude went somewhere. So this is what I think they did the ring for. Because during the scene from Future Redeemed, if they showed like 2 planets like separating and then combining, and then they showed a fuck-ass ring, it would look weird. So I just think the ring formed, like, since. Like, between this step and this, I think there's a time skip. And then the ring forms then. And it's like, if this is the camera angle we get in Future Redeemed, I think the ring is here. I drew that poorly. I think the ring is, like, here. I still drew that poorly. I think the ring is like this. Because the planet in, like, the screen is like that. I think the ring is just, like, outside the camera. But yeah, this is what I think they were trying to do. I think they were trying to slowly reveal the new setting. The Red Ring of Death! Hello, Neo. Welcome to the stream. And Q-Ray, welcome to the stream. That some space object exploded due to gravity, so it could be a moon. It could just be leftover debris. It could be like, when these worlds combined, not everything fully combined and some, like, dust was, like, left over that got turned into the ring over time as, like, gravity sped it up, maybe. Or as, like, as the dust fell in, but I got caught in an orbit. There's a few explanations they can give. If the ring is in fact orbital station debris, I just don't think there's enough. That's my thing when it comes to the orbital station debris. It could. I would question how big the orbital station is, because that would be a lot of material. Could be remnants of the Cloud Sea from Xenoblade 2. Possibly. Honestly, if you guys want me to be honest, I don't think they'll probably really address the formation of the ring. There's like a part of me that thinks they just won't address it that much, and there's a part of me that thinks it'll be a zone in 4. It's like it's one of the two. They either don't talk about it, or it's all they fucking yap about. So, like, in 4, I think we get a space zone. That could just be on the ring. And there's, like, some ancient mystery that we have to unravel, because it's, like, ignoring the signs of it, because there's no fucking way that'd be, like, physically feasible. If we're just, like, ignoring it, it's just, like, some space station there or something. I could see them doing something along those lines. The ring is even vertical, so we should see it in the future redeem shot, I guess, even when the two planets reunite, I think it's just an artistic representation, and the ring, like, logically or, like, lore-wise formed after that. Ruins of the space elevator. That would be hype. I think a space zone is a lock. Because it's like, Volataris is a weird thing. Right? Because in, like, X, we have Volataris, which is essentially just a space zone. Like, if you make it black with stars, and you change the platforms to medias or something, and you put, like, the planet on the outside edge as, like, the skybox, that's just a space zone, mechanically. And the orbital ring isn't displayed in one definitive edition. Yeah, good point. I didn't even realize that. Imagine a man-on party member. I need one. And not supposed to be off Earth. Actually talked about by anyone. I know Neil never shuts up about them. It literally looks like space. Yeah. Do I have that recorded? I probably do. So what will happen? On the planet. Earth gets smoked out.
Dismissed.
I have the other... No, that's from Final Fantasy XIV. No. Where the fuck? Oh, this it? You free bastards. We regret...
Your car sold.
Okay, this is it. I found the file.
Though the time to me was meaningless.
Oh, I'm...
Dictated by necessity. Understanding is neat. You are ignorant. Even of the art of seeing the mind, not the
Wait, what the
abyss at
fuck?
heart of everything, where all consciousness has accumulated. You know not yourselves. You know nothing. Not the abyss at the heart of everything, where all consciousness has accumulated.
Alright, so that's a plotline for Xenoblade 4.
You are ignorant, even of the art of seeing your mind within a person's shaped energy.
So that's just mimeosomes.
Ignorant that you have made nothing more than an artificial recreation of its structure.
The area's prime cores are like recreation of the conduit.
Wait, what was that about an abyss?
So it's true. There really is something else. It's not just the life hold that holds our minds.
And mimeosome tech, it was just copying something else? So the lifehold core, it was only a relay?
What did I miss? We're going deep. Hello, Lucy. Welcome to the stream.
It was but pure blind chance that you successfully
Me, my
Alright, where was that? Was it here? No, this is it. Yeah. Right? Like, you can easily kind of see them. It's like, this is Volataris with the lights off. If you just put some stars in the background, this is a straight-up space zone.
Oh, I'm really sorry. Then we'll try to make this quick.
You should know that your
intellect of Samar. Gaps in my knowledge are impermissible.
And the prime knowledge of
Did you say
Samar.
Samar?
What is death? Is it simply nothing more than the price of defeat? Does it express the ending of existence? But then, how should one define your kind's existence exactly? You know not yourselves. You know nothing.
Jon
Not
Snow.
the abyss at the heart of everything, where all consciousness has accumulated. You are ignorant, even of the art of seeing your mind within a person's shaped energy. Ignorant
Kawaii
of
Owl
nothing
looks,
more
thank you.
than an artificial recreation of its structure.
Wait, what was that about an abyss?
So it's true. There really is something else. It's not just the life hold that holds our minds.
And mimeosome tech, it was just copying something else? So the lifehold core, it was only a relay?
Chance has its hand in all things. It was but pure
The Lifehold core was a relay. It wasn't the real thing keeping humanity alive.
blind chance that you successfully tapped into the universal abyss, even fractionally. For that, I must commend you. That is precisely what makes you so comical. Why you maintain my interest. How fallow your understanding with your meager intellectual ability.
From some divine entity. Yeah, we know that, like, they're trying to, like, weave in. There's something greater going on here. Because it's, like, right at the ass end of the game, they mention heaven. Where is it? Where's my file? It's time for—
Charge her up!
Watch this, like— we have the most badass scene of all time. Fuck off. Hold on, I recognize those colors. Wait a minute. First of all, that was the best outfit choice I could have possibly had for that scene. That's the visual. They love using red and blue contrast. Because they did that as well for when the worlds combined at the end of Future Redeemed. Like, one world was like red, the other was bluish. But it's like, using this coloration, it's like we're going in between worlds here. Like, it borderline gives off that impression.
While Void had me trapped, I got a glimpse of his past.
Alright, Void's past.
Long ago.
Right, that's baby Void there. So we know they have, like, little horns. At least ancient Samarians.
He was born as a citizen of Samar. He was a certified genius, obsessed with studying the ultimate matter, the conduit.
Was the conduit ever associated with the term ultimate matter before? Was this a thing with the Zohar back in Xenosaga? Does anyone know? Your cross goes hard, thank you. Also, interesting little pickup here. That's just the mechanic that skulls have to hold something in position. So that's also tech that we got from Ancient Samar, pretty much. That we were able to incorporate with, like, all of the skulls. How much do you know about Xenosaga? Barely any. I know some of the songs. I know the beach from the Alan Lau scenes come from Saga. I know of Cosmos, and I know at the end she, like, floats back to Earth. Citizen of Samar, that's weird wording.
He was a
I see what you mean.
Long ago.
Ares premise made out of conduit. Yeah, absolutely.
Citizen of Samar. He was a certified genius, obsessed with studying the ultimate matter, the conduit. Distilling its power into 6 cores, he crafted...
Distilling. Am I overthinking the word choice here? Distilling implies you're, like, concentrating it. Like, you're removing elements that you don't want and keeping the stuff you do and putting it into one thing, this being the Ares. Yeah, I don't know about the Gnosis. Do you think anyone in Ancient Samar, when they called it the ultimate matter, they ever made, like, an ultimate what's the matter, baby? Do you think they ever made that joke? They are mistranslations. That's always the ultimate, like, asterisk. We don't know if it's a mistranslation or not. Try to stop the universe destruction. How this compares back to Z's actions.
The Ares. But, matter, the conduit. Distilling its power into 6 cores, he crafted the Ares.
Okay, so if they're calling it the ultimate matter, that implies it's not like a spell or anything that's cast onto the conduit itself to make it powerful. It's like the substance it's composed of is the important shit. And to distill it into the cores, you would somehow have to, like, siphon it off. And it's borderline kind of like they're implying that they took actual pieces of the conduit somehow and managed to get them into the cores. Distilling is a form of purification. That's a great way to put it, Neo. Yeah, we'll play Saga at some point. I'm more interested in, like, what could possibly come up again for 4. That's what I'm most interested in. Because I don't think we're done with the Ares Prime. I think this bad boy comes back, mainly because it's there at the end. You can see the conduit's power flowing through the floor here, can you?
Genius.
Oh, shit!
Long ago. He was born as a citizen of Samar. He was a certified...
Oh, yeah, you can, look! You can see the power of the conduit literally get channeled into the Ares. Look at the lighting on the floor.
He was a certified genius, obsessed with studying the ultimate matter, the conduit.
And it leads right to the Ares.
Distilling its power into 6 cores, he crafted...
Yeah, they're powering it up like a battery. Interesting. The Annihilation events in Black Fog, which is purple. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a connection there. It wouldn't surprise me if, like, the ghosts manifest their energy or, like, their ways in different forms. If in, like, 3, it was Annihilation events, and in X, we got DMAT events with actual ghosts showing up because maybe they viewed the Ares to be, like, a bigger deal. And when it came to, like, Ionios, they could just afford to take pot shots at it.
Certified genius, obsessed with studying the ultimate matter, the conduit.
Looks similar to the ghost. The problem is Monolith's frequent use of the color purple. That's why it looks like Ghost right here. Ghost is just Gnosis with a different name. Ghosts could be ancient Sumerians too. I kind of feel as if the direction they're going to go for ghosts is that they're essentially the multiverse's white blood cells. Where it's like, if they detect a threat to the multiverse somewhere, they move there to eliminate the threat, no matter what it is. It explains why there's no diplomacy, where we've never actually gotten a personality for a ghost. We've never even had, like, a named ghost character, anything like that. It's just, they're there to kill. But also, specifically, those, like, individual locust ghosts target only the humans, and they don't target the Earth. It's the DMAT events themselves that target, like, not the Earth, I mean Mira, that target the surrounding area. So it could be that the DMAT events aren't, like, just destroying everything. It could be the teleporting things to different locations. Or, like, transporting something. Almost like we need to get this away from the Ares Prime. And that's what the DMAT events kind of are. It's like their way to transport the world of Mira somewhere else. Because, like, Earth didn't blow up because of the ghost. That was void. The next series will be, I think we see him again in Xenoblade 4. Or Xenoblade Saga, whatever they want to call it. Because it's like, to some degree, they're going after a combination of, like, Void / the Ganglion and the Ares Prime. Where were they when Klaus was using the conduit? I think they showed up later. But for some reason... No, they did kind of show up later. If the theory that the Fog Beast, like the Black Fog, is like a tool of the ghosts... It could just be they viewed the Klaus event to be rather minor. So they're like, yeah, we can just, like, handle that with fog. Like, this lower tier shit. The Ares Prime over here, though, we kind of need to mobilize. It kind of feels like there's layers to this, to me. They wouldn't be as interesting as antagonists if they were only universe... Yeah, it's like, I don't think you can have the ghosts be the only antagonist. You need to have, like, a big named character alongside them. And I don't know if the ghosts necessarily, like, work with that, but there's still a giant question mark. We're just, like, guessing that this is how they work. They could easily be, like, be led by someone, you know? As other things that's going to be the reveal they want us to find. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, they could, like, hide the 6 cores of the Ares Prime as, like, other objects, and we have to collect those objects throughout the course of the game. I could easily see that being, like, the main objective. Still have access to the conduit's power. A little bit. And that's because there's still, like, special emphasis on their core crystal in Future Redeemed in 3. So it may not be, like, prime Numa powers, but, like, there's still something special about it. Not like they had time to hunt him down. Possible as well. That ghosts accumulate over time, so there weren't enough at the time of Klaus, but with more use, more distortions happen, more ghosts. Possibly as well, yeah. It could just be that the ghosts, like, can't operate immediately. They need to, like, gather up their forces. There was, like, one line of dialogue in Future Redeemed. It was in, like, one of, like, the scenery locations. Like, the bootleg hot-to-hots that Future Redeemed had. It was, like, Rex tried to explain the Black Fog, but I don't think he explains it fully.
A certified genius, obsessed with studying the ultimate matter, the conduit. 6 cores.
Oh, I thought I was going crazy, dude. I completely forgot about this line of dialogue. Oh my god, there's so much... Dude, it's insane how much they packed in the Chapter 13. This is why I had the connection in my head. I just couldn't remember exactly why. I thought it was just circumstance that it was the Ares Prime getting the cores that spawned the ghosts in. It's because of this line of dialogue here.
But in doing so, he also stirred up the ghosts.
This implies that the ghosts directly are after the Ares Prime, not because it's the Ares Prime, but because of the conduit distillation into the cores. And it was that moment that the ghost woke up and went, real shit? That was the moment. 6 cores, why 6? It's a damn good question. Why 6 specifically? It feels like there's a symbolic reason for each of them in, like, the locations. Like, one for each limb. So, like, arm, leg, cock, chest, but none for the head. This is the one that, like, interests me the most because, like, to my knowledge, there's a storytelling thing when it comes to numbers. It's like most of the time things are done in, like, rules of 3, 5, or 7. Or, like, 12. 6 is a weird one. Because, like, the natural thing would be you make it 7 and have 1 on the head. Right? But that's not the case. Six core, 6 Ouroboros. Yeah, it was a number of party members in 3, I guess. No, 3 had 7, because you had, like, the 6 main ones, and then you had the optional, like, Jabba. What's the numerology behind 6? There's another connection to 6 in Xenoblade. One second. I just remembered there's another connection in X specifically with the number 6. Some of you may know exactly what I'm going to go to. Look at the melee attack stat. Also, look at the potential. If this was some other skull, it wouldn't matter. They specifically made the melee attack stat on the Ares Prime the number of the beast. Which is like symbolism for the devil, essentially. 666. And the potential is specifically 600. It's deliberate symbol. I think what they're trying to do Forbidden fruit. Yeah, I think we're gonna get religious with this. I think the comparison they're going to try and draw up, I just came up with this like 5 seconds ago. So bear with me as I formulate the thoughts here. I think the symbology they want to go for here is that the Ares Prime is like the apple from the Garden of Eden. It's the fruit of forbidden knowledge. Think of it like this. Elma brought Ares Prime to Earth, and that jump-started Earth's, like, technology. Hundreds of years in, like, only a couple. It's like providing pretty much profane knowledge to people that are not equipped for that knowledge. In chapter 13, yeah, the Bible verse as well. Which is in direct reference to, not reference, but just straight up from the Book of Revelations. How do I get Mia? There's a side quest chain of normal quests you have to do, Shirako, where you go around the world following Mia around. It involves a lot of different side quests. Look for her in, like, New LA. There's a quest with, like, her name in it. I think it starts... It starts, like, around here. Look for a quest, like, called something Mia around here. Yeah, and it goes back to, like, what you're talking about, Divas, where it's, like, there's a light connection between Elma and Al with Adam and Eve. But also, at the very beginning of Xenoblade X, they show that tablet from, like, the Voyager probe. With, like, the man and the woman on it. And the verse numbers are the same numbers of the Project Exodus ships mentioned in the radio and Future Redeemed, apparently. Real shit? Hold on. So when I hit full screen, cocksucker... Alright, there we go. Now, if only I'd recorded this at a halfway decent volume. Does the name Sienna Morgan ring a bell to anyone? Or Barry Crowley?
We could live together. A place to call home. And not just
Most of our listeners know what we're talking about. We'll recap. At midnight on the 16th, the first Redamantha spaceport saw the launch. 16th, another 6. Nope, just Dimitri. Oh, thank you, Shiraka, for the $2 super chat. Thanks, I found it. Appreciate the help, everyone. No worries. Prepare for a lot of side quests, but they're really good, so enjoy them. Thank you again for the super chat. We know it wasn't the one from X. Yes, this Project Exodus is not the one from X. I want to just bear that. I want to, like, repeat that. This Project Exodus from Future Redeemed is not the one from X. It's an example of, like, the people from two different Earths having the same nomenclature, essentially the same word usage for different things. Blade, Project Exodus, something spacecraft size. It was a Gears reference. Yeah, isn't Dmitry Yuriev like an antagonist in Saga or something? Crowley. See, I went to Mr. Crowley. Bow, bow, bow. Did you talk with them dead? Oh, Mr. Crowley. It seems to have multiple launches over time. Yeah. Like, they're evacuating people in, like, waves. Earth Life Colonization Project's 8th mothership, the Icarus. Icarus being, like, a Greek character who, alongside his father, wanted to fly to the heavens. But the kid, being a fucking idiot, flew too high and the wax on his, like, makeshift wings melted because of the sun. Because I guess, why not? And the dude fell. 480,000 settlers to the Eta Carina Nebula in the Carina Sagittarius arm of the... Wait a fuck. Where is that? Eta Carinae Nebula location. Alright, so it's 7,500 light years away, so... Saga nerds, is this a known location from Saga? Anything in the Eta Carina Nebula or the Carina Sagittarius arm of the Milky Way? Yeah, the class of mothership is the Xenogears reference. Humanity keeps having to flee their homes. Yeah, that's the common theme in Xenoblade. Icarus is the 8th interstellar colony ship dispatched as part of Project Exodus. Bring the total number of colonists sent out to the stars to 3 million. Elmo was the Xenoblade the entire time. See, my headcanon is that it's actually the Ares Prime. And the real Xenoblade was me, Al, and Lau. Coalition government plans to send out ships 9 to 13 in the... Okay, so the Bible quote... Yeah, what Deba said. The Bible quote Elma uses. Book of Revelations, chapter 9. Holy shit, that's a snipe. Wait a minute. Dude, why can't I find... Oh, I'm going to go to my own video, because I linked it. Yeah, so the verse that Elma says in chapter 13 is Book of Revelations, chapter 9, verse 13. That's where it starts. And right here, they're saying the coalition government plans to send out ships 9 to 13 in the course of this year. Probably doesn't mean much, it's just a nice little reference that they had this planned out for a while. At least they knew the Bible verse they were going to use in X. The 9th vessel departing in July, which is also in July, that's the start of the invasion at the beginning of Xenoblade X. It's like July of 2054 some shit. Heralds a new generation of ultra long-range colony ships. Now known as the Philadelphia-class mothership. That's the Xenogears reference. Each vessel boasts a capacity of up to 1.5 million humans. Doesn't the White Whale supposedly hold more? Yo, yeah, it does. Like, theoretically, it was supposed to hold all of humanity in it. Because of the life hold.
Just let me know if you want seconds.
July's the 6th month. No, it's the 7th. July's the 7th. June is the 6th. It's like poetry with rhymes. Project will send a total of 10 million people out into the great beyond. I like how I ask a question in chat and I don't bother to fucking read. Hold on. For a Warriors game crossover. Oh my god, if I have to play a Warriors style game for Xenoblade. Oh, dude, I'd be happy. I've been calling for that for ages. My bad. Don't worry. I suck ass with calendars as well. White Whale was 20 million. It was supposed to be, but then we learned at the end that it was way more than that because of the way they were holding people. But then it didn't matter because it broke. I mean, there's just too many references to Saga. It's like, even as someone who has not played Saga, there's so many references. Like, not just in Future Redeemed, but also in X. But, like, they're used in such a way to where they just create mystery right now, and you don't need them to understand what's going on. Holding real bodies would only be 50k. Thank you. Okay, yeah. An entirely new continuity. I don't think you do the ending of X Definitive Edition the way you do if the plan was for a new continuity. I think the closest we would get to that is they just, like, set the new story on the planet at the end of Future Redeemed and X, but, like, 1,000 years in the future. Which I think was 500,000. Okay, thank you. I got it mixed up. Project provided by Nintendo. I did not see that info. Could you, like, resend it, please? Project provided by Nintendo. Yeah, the Vecna logo on the radio is a company from Saga. I knew that one. Also the fact that Cosmos has been in Xenoblade. Like, we kind of forget this, right? But, like, she was also just in Xenoblade 2. It wasn't canonical, we think. But also Elma was in Xenoblade 2. Which, again, wasn't canonical, we think. But, like, who knows? Could be Xenoblade versions of Xenosaga lore, just like Project X is in Xenoblade. Second Earth, Neo Jerusalem was founded in M24 Sagittarius constellation. Xenosaga also followed a similar timeline, but the planet was named Mitchem. This is where Omega Ion equivalent went crazy in both Xenogears and Xenosaga. Oh, okay. I just want more Xenoblade stories. Thank you, Infun. It's like, to me, right? It's like, let's put the lore aside for a second here. Right? Like, let's just put it aside for a second. As a company, like as Nintendo, I can't see them going off to Bandai Namco and saying, hey, guys, got a question, right? I know you guys own the IP to Xenosaga, but we really want to make a bunch of scattered references that go nowhere. How much money? I just don't really see that being the play any company would do. It feels to me like the way they teased X with Future Redeemed, with just saying the name Project Exodus, and all the people, the 12 people that had a Wii U, me included, were like, yo, that's X though. The way they tease that, it feels like they're really teasing something Saga. I don't want to sound like a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist here, but it really feels as if they're gearing something up for Saga. No, that was not an intentional pun for Xenogears. Bandai, yeah, I get Bandai's logic and letting Nintendo use the IP. I don't get Nintendo's logic seeking out Bandai Namco without getting something in return that's just not a bunch of references to games most of the people that play Xenoblade won't understand. It feels as if there's like something coming down the pipeline. Like maybe they worked out a deal. I have absolutely, by the way, no fucking inside knowledge to speak of. I'm just gonna say that right before I say this. It feels to me like they worked out a deal to get Xenosaga on their console at some point in time. I know at some point it was like talked about that there was a project between Nintendo and Monolith. Not Monolith, Nintendo and Bandai Namco at some point. I don't know if that was just for something else. But it's like, as a business, as a company, I don't see Nintendo going out and just saying, hey, Bandai Namco, we want to give you money so we can make references to games that you're not going to bring back, and also half our player base won't understand how much. But abandoned it years ago? Yeah, but I know what you're talking about, Divas, and this is going to hurt me to say, but 2019 was 6 years ago. A lot has changed when it comes to Xenoblade since then. If there's ever a time for it to be now with the popularity of Xenoblade, exactly. It's like one of the launch titles for the Switch 2 is fucking Bravely Default. It's like, yeah, that was on the 3DS, but like, it wouldn't surprise me if Nintendo wants even more like old JRPGs. I think we'll get a Xenogears remaster or something anyways, because it's Square Enix. They can't help but going into their back catalog and, like, remaking an old JRPG they forgot about. It's just, like, something they like to do. They can use Xenosaga. It's like, maybe Nintendo just, like, bought some rights to it. Or, like, bought a license to use it for some reason. Because it's like, they've been using Xenosaga stuff for 3 fucking games at this point. In 2 with Cosmos, 3 now with Future Redeemed, and now in X, where we have the beach, and, like, clearly other lore references to Saga. That was only found out in 2019, possibly, but that, like, leans into my argument even more. I don't know, Square Enix really just, like, sitting on Xenogears for some reason. Yeah, they like sitting on Xenogears, but also, like, releasing, like, new mechs for it, something. Forgot my waifu Telos. Also, I like how I've just been, like, leaving the stream on this image of Nile, like, pogging out. Can be with the new console would be a huge headliner, regardless of name, because of how good it looks. Also, I'm only playing Soccer if it's a full remake as well. Well, the way I'm thinking, right, is like, what's the quickest way to kill an IP's hype and momentum? Not doing anything with it. It's like going off the previous timeline. I know there's like some people that try and argue that it might not line up this go-around for whatever reason, and like possible, right? But, like, a conservative estimate would put Xenoblade 4, like, around 2 years out. It's, like, 2 to 2.5 years out from the release of Xenoblade 4. Or whatever the fuck they want to call it. And with them really fucking leaning into Xenosaga lore. Like, getting to the point where you can't really accurately, like, theorycraft about Xenoblade entirely without knowing Saga. Like, they just lean into Saga more and more with each entry. It wouldn't surprise me if Nintendo's like, okay, look, we have like 2.5 years until Xenoblade 4 after X Definitive Edition. Maybe we have a DLC lined up for a Switch 2 version or something for X. That would be a small thing, right? But, like, what else could we do? Hey, yo, Bandai Namco, we really fucking want to use Saga stuff. Do you guys think you guys could, like, whip up a remaster or a remake? It's like, if the timeline is this, we're going back, by the way, to Paint. Oh, you bitch. Hold on. Alright. Gonna ignore that didn't happen. Alright. If we have a timeline, right? It's like 3. Future Redeemed. X. This was 22. This was 23, right? Future Redeem was 23, right? And this is 25. Not the scale. It's like, after all this momentum, right? And not to mention, you also had like the Smash stuff at some point here as well. It's like, as Nintendo, do you just want to have 2.5 years of fuck nothing? Right? Like, do you just want the doldrums? Or did you get Bandai Namco to say, hey, let's work on something because we want more exclusives for our console? We have more power on the Switch too because we actually have more than 4 gigs of fucking RAM now. Which still blows my mind. I wouldn't be surprised. By the way, there's a 4,000-year time skip at the beginning of Xenosaga after they find the Zohar on Earth. Do we know a calendar year for Saga? Not for, like, IRL stuff, but, like, in-universe, like, what year does it take place in? Xenoblade Chronicles X just got a new patch. Do we have patch notes? It's probably just, like, bug fixes or something. Can't wait for the next Xenoblade to be 50 gigs. I almost said 500 gigs, but, like, let's be fair here. It might. Will they just do Xenosaga 1 remaster or the whole trilogy? I feel like the play is the whole trilogy. How long does each Saga game go for? Is it 40 hours or like 100? Seems like mostly bug fixes. Yeah, Monolith are programming wizards. It's like, to me, it just doesn't make sense. That you have Cosmos here, you have the radio here, and then it's just like, dude, what if half the lore was Saga? Like, that doesn't make sense to me unless you have some backroom deal already in place for Saga stuff. For back in the day. Xenoblade 4 somehow be 23-something gigs. If you did the side content, mostly 80. Okay. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they do like 1, 2, 3, or like 1, 2, 3. Something like that. It's just, I don't know if I see Nintendo at this point in time, when Xenoblade is as hot as it ever has been, just saying, okay, guys, let's do nothing with this IP for 2 years, because we need to develop 4. And, like, maybe that's just the unfortunate reality right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's like, what if? Yeah, how the hell did they get X to be smaller on the Switch? That's crazy to me. I mean, I can't see them ever just, like, doing, hey, guys, good news. We have Saga 1. That's it. Don't ask us for anything ever again. I just don't see them doing that. It's like, if you go full beans on doing Saga, you have to do 1 to 3. Will Nintendo skip Xenoblade 9? I keep forgetting there's a Xenosaga anime. And it looks better. Yeah, that's the wild thing. It's like, how? A seamless open world in the Wii U? Yeah. But it's abruptly ended? Gotcha. We can trust Monolith to do the right thing. Oh, believe you me, I have no issues with 4. I'm fine with whatever. I trust them. It's like, after all of this shit, I trust them with anything. Hell, 4 could be an entire simulator about watching paint dry, and I'll still, like, break it apart for, like, the lore. I had an entire list of things. Oh, right, I wanted to break down the lyrics to the way. Alright, let's go over quickly, though, what we think 4 is going to be about, though. There has to be an easier way to do this. Alright, 4. So, things I think will make a comeback. Skells. I think there's a reason to bring X's crew into the canon for 4. I think we're getting Skells back. I think we're getting Manon. I hope to God, because I love the Manon. I love those little guys. I think we're getting a Space Zone. Because of Volataris. Volataris feels like a beta test for a Space Zone to me. It's like that one scene very early on where you see Volataris in, like, the dock. You just add some stars and job done. There's no point guessing what 4's about. I'm about to call the entire theme of 4, by the way. Prepare yourself. Oh yeah, Mithras kid. Who we like to call in this community Frank. Ignore that the Nopon looking guy, that's totally not related for copyright reasons, for the memberships for the channel, is a yellow Nopon called Frank. Ignore that. Okay. So, I've talked about this for a while. I talked about this even after, like, 3 and Future Redeemed. I think I know roughly what the theme of 4 is. So, 1, 2, 3, X. All deal with the idea of losing your world. That's a U. I swear. Losing your world. And moving on. It's framed differently in each of the games. But this is a core central, like, plot point that happens in every Xenoblade game in this list. In Xenoblade 1, Shulk gets rid of the world of the Bionis and the Mechonis to create a new world without gods. So we lose that world and we move on to the new world. Xenoblade 2, we lose the world of all rest to, like, go to the world of all rest. Roll with it. But we see it at the very ass end of Xenoblade 2. When Pyra and Mithra come back and all the Titans just, like, face plant into the new continent, into, like, the new quote-unquote world. Then in 3, we have to get rid of the world of Ionios. Because the Endless Now is, like, a toxic way to live. and we're not really moving on, we're not growing as people, we're just like stuck in the present and all that, right? So we move on from Ionios. We are willing to cast that world, the Endless, now aside to move on into their own individual worlds from 1 and 2. And they separate. But at the end of 3, we move on to the new world. I'm going to call it the Ring World. I know there was no ring in Future Redeemed, but we need a name for this fucking thing. We're going to call it Jabronieville. Right, we already settled on this. Jabronieville. That's a B. My handwriting is impeccable with a mouse. Alright, so the new world is called Jabronieville. And then in X, this happens 3 fucking times. So in X, we have Elma losing her world. Then we lose Earth. That's an A. Then finally in chapter 13, that's an R, we lose Mira. And we wind up at Jabronieville. Jabronieville is big dick energy. All paths lead to Jabronieville. It's where we are currently at in the timeline. But this has been like the common thing for Xenoblade up to now. It's been like a major theme, being willing to forego the world we're in right now to create a better one for the future. It's just framed differently in each of these games. What I think they're going to do for 4, and I believed this after 3 and Future Redeemed, especially Future Redeemed. Mainly Future Redeemed. I believe this twice as much, if not 5 times as much now, after X. I think the plot to 4 is we have Jabronieville. And we have to protect it. I'm not writing that shit out. Alright. We have to save Jabronieville. It will be the main mission for 4. There'll be some Jabronieville ending catastrophe. Crisis, not the game. What this catastrophe will be could be multiple. Could be new dickhead. Some new dickhead comes onto the scene and we have to stop him because he's a dickhead, right? It could be that. Could be the obvious, like, one. The ghosts. Because we still have the Ares Prime with the conduit goo in it. The conduit's goo is still firmly planted within the Ares Prime, and we know from that cutscene at the end of chapter 13 that it was when the conduit's goo was put into the Ares Prime, that's when the ghost came into the scene. We still have that thing. These guys travel to different worlds / dimensions / universes. They're not gonna stop. We'll almost certainly see them again. It could also just be a combination. And it could be like, the ghosts are really cool as villains, but they have the character of a wet noodle. No, they have the character of a white blood cell because that's what they are. They're just like the force of nature, right? Not the Metal Gear Rising song. That's an R. So, Xenoblade normally likes to have a named face guy that has a big personality. So they might combine these two. Like, there's another new dickhead, like how we had Void in Chapter 13. Chapter 13 is a great example of this, because I think Chapter 13 is like a small-scale version of Xenoblade 4. To some degree. In a lot of ways. It's like, I think it'll be like mostly the gameplay of X, but with the storytelling of Chapter 13 / Xenoblade 1, 2, 3. That's what I think they're doing. I think the gameplay will be some like hybrid between 3 and X, leaning more towards X. But with the storytelling of Chapter 13. The storytelling style of Chapter 13. The Ghost of Small Fries. Well, also, we didn't deal with, like, any of the big ghost shit. Because, like, remember from the beginning of Xenoblade X with the battle on Earth against the Ganglion? They were, like, ghost motherships. That we just, like, did not deal with in Chapter 13. Yeah, it could be, like, Samar comes back or something. Because we know there's still a thing. They could be like a multi-dimensional or like a multi-universal threat. Could also be the clue. You know, Neil Nail's people. We only really know Neil Nail and Celica. We don't know how like her people actually are. They could have also changed since they left. Those aren't the Gnosis motherships. They're way bigger. Okay, that's even better for my point. This come to pass. Now, I want the crew from finding Bigfoot. We saw some in the ending fight of Chapter 13. Oh, I think they just started coming in. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Now, this is what I think the plot to 4 will be. It's like we have to deliberately not run away. Because this was something someone pointed out in a comment. It's like, it's a really shit feeling where it's like, in X, we come to love Mira, right? And it's like, dude, we had to run away so many times. And now Chapter 13 rolls in after like almost 10 years. And it's like, guys, guess what? We're running away again. Yeah, all that talk about Mira being our home and we're going to make a permanent settlement here. Yeah, we're gone. Hit the road, Jack. It feels like, to me, they're building up for, like, the whole, this is going to be our world. We're not running away anymore. This is the world we have. This is the world we ended up at. We're going to fight. We're going to protect this fucking world no matter what. They're saving that for 4. I think that's what they're doing. Now, the other part of the theory. Because I'm not done when it comes to this. I think I know the protagonist. This is going to sound really fanboyish, by the way. Bear with me and let me cook. Bear with me, let me cook. That motherfucker's not dead. He doesn't die at the end of 2. This is a misnomer. We assume he dies because his core crystal gets shattered. But the dickhead just talks to Numa right afterwards as if it's like nothing. As if they're just on a Discord call. We know that the information for each of the Trinity core processors is like stored as well in each of them. Because that's how Mallows, like, heals his, like, processor. His, like, core crystal. In 2. He takes the data from Numa's core crystal. From Pyrus, specifically. But also, blink and you'll miss it, Mallows is in Future Redeemed. He is in End Sword. Like how, Noah has the Numa core crystal in the Fist of the End because of Matthew, because he inherits them from Matthew at some point, and he has him as like the gauntlet for the sword he wields for like Lucky 7. The Logos core crystal is in End Sword because it glows like Mallows purple. Now, there were people back in the day in Future Redeemed that tried to say just because it glows the exact color of Mallows, and because they showed us Numa in the Fist of the End, the Sword of the End wouldn't necessarily have logos. Yes. They would. It would. I think we need open world. Yeah, I think 4 is open world. I think 4 is going to look, gameplay-wise, very much like X, story-wise, like 1, 2, 3, Chapter 13. Now, why would they do this, by the way? 1, to please me specifically, because I love Malos. That's step 1. I feel like that's the most important step. 1, pleasure me. 2, thematically it works. I talked about this a long time ago. In 2, Logo, Malos / Logos, whatever the fuck you want to call him. Billy Bob inherited his will from a Malthus. He got his nihilism, pretty much. Until the interview in the art book confirmed it. I forgot they just confirmed it in the art book. I forgot about that art book. Yeah, so in 2, Malos is like born essentially with a mouth is like getting him as a blade, and he inherits his nihilism. And at the end, he asks a question. How was it like to live? Or some shit along that line, right? What was it like to live? He's curious at the end. And also, they've done this before. The Ontos Core Crystal came back as Alpha and A. In Future Redeemed. That's the way I think they're going to do it with Logos. It's not going to be like the Malos from 2. It's going to be like, you'll never believe it. I was a CPU, but then I died and was reincarnated in another world. I think they're going to go that route for Malos. And then Logos will be like reincarnated as well. He'll like boot the fuck back up. And I think we won't learn that, like, either the MC of 4, or, like, one of the main party members, or, like, one of the main characters in 4, is actually Logos until, like, near the end. And, like, you know that one cutscene every Xenoblade game has where they dump, like, all the exposition in, like, one 20-minute cutscene? We might have to wait till that part in 4 to get this confirmation. Malos and Lao connection. God, I wish. Well, hold on. Games in chat is cooking. The Trinity cores are based in the Holy Trinity. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Numa is the Spirit. Alvis is the Father. So Malos is the Son, who famously came back to life. You're cooking. This also, like, for 4 specifically, like, remember the theme of what I imagine 4 will be. We're saving this world, and we're choosing to fight for this world against whatever threat or crisis poses it. Who better as the MC for a story about that than a guy who learns that in his past life he tried to destroy the world? Because he gave up on the world. He didn't view it worthwhile to keep it around any longer, and he just wanted to destroy the world. Who better for the protagonist of a game in a series where we finally decide to save and protect this world specifically than we take the guy who wanted to destroy the world the most besides Amalthus, like, memory wipe him, have him come to terms that that was who he was, and then choose to say, fuck it, I still have the choice. I still have the ability to choose what I do in the now. I choose to save this world. Thematically, it lines up too much. And this really, really, really feels like something that Monolith would do. This is either 4 or, like, the extra story DLC for 4. I think this is what they do. Would Al technically work as a new driver host for Malos? I don't know. And keep David Mencken as the VA because yes. Oh, 1000%. I ride if not. Could be MC as Cross's descendant and as the driver of the reborn Malos, not Malos. Holy fuck, you're cooking. Wait, no. Better yet. Alright. I talked about this before. Like when we beat X. Imagine 4, you like get your copy of 4, right? Your tail's wagging in the wind. You're happy-go-lucky. You're like, dude, finally, after all this time, I got my copy of Xenoblade 4. Fuck yeah, dude. This is awesome. The main menu pops in, right? You see the logo for Xenoblade 4, and it's like, dude, this looks badass. And then this pops up on your screen. And it brings in your copy of Cross, the MC of X, into 4. Now, the problem is, I don't see them making them a big named voice character. Because I don't see them going back to the drawing board and saying, yo, like 16 different voice actors. What if you just read this entire script for us? I don't see them doing that. What I could see them do is have, like, have this guy in, like, flashbacks or be, like, an unvoiced NPC. Or, if they really want to tickle my fancy, make him the new MC again, but just keep him a silent MC. They had your MC follow in the sequel, Golden Sun. There was another one that I've played. I can't remember what it is, though. We haven't addressed yet. Is the next game going to be Xenoblade 4 X2? I think it's X4. I think it's both. I think Xenoblade 4 is X2. He was influenced by a Malthus in blade form as a Blade Malos. Exactly, Kyrie. I think that's exactly going to be the way they frame this. Is like, part of the theme will be like, your upbringing or like your environment influences you. That was always the theme in 2 as well. Due to the age and injuries. Well, I feel like they're just changing the power scale. Because it's like, the real main source of firepower that was there in 1 and 2 was like either the Monados or the Trinity Core processors. Both of which are kind of like out of commission for the most part. The only thing really left is the Ares Prime. And like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, dude, they might just say, fuck it, split this bitch up into like 6 different cores, and have that be the main collectible for the game. Cross's amnesia, how do we know he's actually human? That's a great point. He's not. We know that Cross is a mimeosome because of Chapter 5 from Xenoblade X. Because we see his like mechanical innards. But it's important to note that we are also able to pilot the Ares Prime. But deliberately, Al even calls out the fact an organic life form, like flesh and blood, needs to be the thing that pilots the Ares Prime. But despite that, we are still able to do so. Al actually addresses this near the end of the game as well. The conclusion he reaches is that there might not be that big of a difference at the end of the day. Between, like, what? The conclusion Al essentially reaches in Xenoblade X is that essentially there's not that big of a difference between flesh and a mem. The big issue was that humanity, when they tried to pilot the Ares Prime with the Mimiosomes, didn't believe themselves to be humanity. They believed themselves to be a mem. But in the events of X, our guy, Cross, just doesn't give a fuck. And because of, like, he believes himself to be human, he is able to pilot the Ares Prime. Like, that's the conclusion Al essentially reaches at the end of X. Is that it's not an actual matter of if you're flesh or blood or a robot. It's like your mind space. It's like, what do you believe yourself to be? We connected with the collective unconscious, so we succeeded to use the Ares Prime like a warm body, probably. Yeah, pretty much. It's like we needed to, like, establish that connection to, like, whatever's up here. Like, let's just call it the upper. We need to establish our connection and realize we're actually all the same. Like, robot humanity, it doesn't matter. What matters is, like, what we choose to do with our life. It's why when the Lifehold core, like... It's like when the Lifehold core broke at the beginning of X, and we managed to live on, is because we believed ourselves that we could live. It's like that ended up being like, there's something about this planet. It's not the planet, it's the universe. It's the multiverse. It's like we believed in our heart of hearts that we could still live. So we did. Hello, Mike. Welcome to the stream. Heads up, version 1.0.2 just dropped and broke online. A shit ton of people can't connect anymore. Damn. They should be... That's what they get, though, for playing Xenoblade X and not being in this stream theory crafting with all of us. All the cool guys, right, chat? Hopefully they can pull off the Xenoblade 3 cast. So, let's talk about the cast. It was being relayed from the Nexus. Pretty much. But, like, alongside the stuff with the Ares Prime, humanity still had to, like, believe that they were alive. To some degree. I think you're right on that specific issue, though, Games. When it comes to the Ares Prime, it's like you have to believe you're alive. But, like, with the Lifehold core, they believe... The Mimiosome tech was just, like, a substitute. It was just, like, the middleman, not the actual, like, big reason. So, for the cast of 4... Let's just assume 6 party members. Because they really like the number 6 lately. 1, I think they're going to draw a connection with the Ares Prime and the Devil. Or like the Fruit of Forbidden Knowledge. Chat, rate my penmanship 1 out of 10. Forbid it. I just misspelled that. Got an idea. Nice. Nice. So when it concerns the cast, let's assume we have the Malos guy from before. Mithra's kid. And it would be really funny if these were the same, but I don't think they will be. I've had to read way worse. Imaginary number domain. Final boss of the actual devil. It's me, the actual devil. You misspelled alpha? No, Oh. I didn't want to say anything. Look, it's really hard to write with a mouse. I can aim at an FPS game, but not this. Alright, this leaves the door open for 4 other jabronis. So either they're all new people. Or it could be like something like that. I think we'll see these characters again, one way or the other. It's like either they're gonna be like main party members, in my opinion, or they're gonna get the Melia and Nia role from Xenoblade 3. Where they're major characters, but they're kind of like off to the side. And maybe we can recruit them later on. I don't see Malice returning. I kind of view it as a 50-50. It's like, this feels like a storyline they would do, but they could also just easily not do it, you know? But, like, if we're gonna have returning characters, it's like the story of Noah and Mio can easily go on. Yeah, we'll meet again at the far edge of time. It's like the end of 3 essentially said, until we meet again! Pretty much. These two kind of, I just put here for, like, X representation. But, like, Al's a character with so much potential, but he's also, like, deeply connected to the Ares Prime. And there's no fucking way the Ares Prime isn't important again. So it wouldn't surprise me if, like, we get Al along for the ride, but also Alma, because she's also the most in the know about all this. In like a cosmological sense. I don't know if they'll do Shulk and Rex again outside of, like, hey, Rex's house is over here. Let's go say hi to him. Yo, what's up, Rex? Hey! I'm really feeling it. Why are you here, Shulk? You know what I mean? It's like, maybe that's what they do for those guys. I don't see them being like a main story role. They could, but who knows? Maybe the Ares Prime makes Al immortal. I won't be surprised if that's the case. That's not a C, by the way. This is an E. Nailed it. Fixed it. They did say they're done with Klaus's story. Would they make the connections that direct? Yes, because I think the story of 1, 2, and 3 is like dealing with the fallout of Klaus in one way or the other. When Future Redeemed ends and when 3 ends, we're done with Klaus. His influence on the story is like, at this point, fully past tense. Because we get Jabronieville, the new planet. I think if we get Elma again, they'll just let us pick a form. I feel like Al isn't around, but we find him at the end of the game when we gather all the cores. That could also... I also wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. I think 1000%, though, we see or hear about Al again. It's like, if there's a time skip, we're gonna read about Al in, like, some historic, like, plaque or something. But, like, we're still absolutely dealing with, like, the conduit. Alright, so, hold on. Things we're still dealing with. Conduit. In one way or the other, we're still directly dealing with the conduit because the Ares Prime has the conduit goo within it. It's like full up on conduit goo. It still is a thing, and we know there's a direct connection between the Ares Prime that's an M with the ghosts. So I think we either hear about, talk about, or see directly all three of these things in one way, shape, or form. Then the DLC will be a prequel for Future Redeem style, where you play as these characters established in the world. Yeah, I could see that being the case, where it's like the actual Game of 4 is like way into the future, but the extra DLC thing is like what happens when they landed. I kind of hope one day they just do like, here's the story, and then we'll release an epilogue after that. I'm kind of done with prequels, personally. We never did find out exactly where the actual conduit went to after 2. Yeah. It's like, it might still be a big thing. Or it's like, the way we'll deal with it is like through this. Because this leads into this, because the Ares Prime has like conduit energy in it. Where do you buy conduit goo? I can't find it in my local supermarket. See, I got conduit goo from this guy I met, like, down the street. I had to go to a back alley and, like, turn around or something. Then he, like, put it into a bucket for me, though. That was pretty chill. I didn't want a prequel after 3. I didn't either. It turned out being pretty good, but I still didn't want a prequel. There's something that is constantly restarting the universe or universal civilization. At some point, the game will be about saying, we're done with your cosmic shit. Yeah, I think, like, 4 will focus a lot more on the planet. Unlike Jabronieville. Are we still under the impression that the conduit in 2 and X are different conduits? I am not under that impression at all. I am under the impression there's only one conduit and jumps between different worlds. And that at the end of 2, we saw it jump into a different world. That is the impression I'm working under. I don't buy the multiple conduit theory. I mean, I'm not saying it can't happen, right? It, like, could easily be the plot point to go for. I just don't see anything Monolith doing being like, oh, except for, like, multiple Earths, I don't think they'll ever do, like, dude, there's, like, Universe A conduit, Universe A shulk, Universe B shulk, Universe C shulk, Universe D conduit. I don't see them ever doing that kind of stuff. Oh, yeah, the world. I think the setting is Jabronieville, the new planet at the end of Future Redeemed. And X Definitive Edition. I do believe them to be the same planet. I get the ring argument. It makes a little bit of sense. I think there's ways to explain around it. Too much stuff lines up for it to be the same planet than not to be. Oh, also. Manon, no pawn. I think Skell's return as a mechanic I think they're too cool, and any issue that X Definitive Edition has when it comes to skulls can be easily rectified by improving the overall combat system. Also known as giving enemies fucking mechanics. Best of luck, Izanami. Yeah. I was on, like, Team Epilogue for Xenoblade 3 as well. My only thing was, you don't do an epilogue if it's just, like, you're gonna do the story again in 4. And that's, like, kind of what they're doing. Oh, yeah, Professor B. If you don't know who Professor B is, by the way, he has a side quest chain in Xenoblade X, and he's just a legit time traveler. Like, you build that motherfucker a DeLorean from Back to the Future. It's like, it's framed in such a way it's like he's either legit or he's a crazy person. But he's probably not a crazy person because this dude's actually pretty intelligent. The cause of the Ouroboros, I would not be surprised at all if they do that, Atlas, because there's like distinct imagery with the end of Future Redeemed when the crew like all Voltron interlink into one thing to beat Alpha. That imagery there is like almost identical to when the Ares Prime goes Super Saiyan with Cross, Al, and Lao. Do you think Albus will return in any form? Probably not. I think Future Redeemed was his, like, send-off. I think if we see any more Trinity core processors, it's like Logos as the protag, or like one of the main characters. And then afterwards, we might see Numa, like Mithra and Pyra, just like living their life. I don't really see them being like main central pivotal characters. Like maybe they help out the war effort or whatever we're doing. Make Professor B a main character. I think A will still be around. I wouldn't be, like, overly surprised if we see A specifically. If we see A again, that wouldn't particularly surprise me. And you know what? Like, now that I'm thinking about it, if we're working on the assumption we're going to see Logos and Numa again in some form, why wouldn't you have a representative for Ontos? And, like, A is a character you can easily do more with. Where Nopon come from, since they're one in class's tree of evolution. I just like the idea that Nopon are inevitable. Here's my thing. This is something I really want to drive home. And, like, it's my personal message to Monolith. Despite all of this, I think there's one massively important thing that they should never do. Under any circumstance. Under any situation, should they never do this one thing. And I'm being 100% serious when I say this. I'm going to type this too. Because I think this is truly that important. One, okay, let's not make black on black here. One thing to never, ever do. You never, ever, 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 in my opinion, want to explain everything. Because that removes the magic. That removes the interesting elements that, like, drive stuff like this with theory crafting or just thinking about it. You don't want to over-explain everything and lose the magic and the wanderlust and, like, the sparkly eyes we have going into Xenoblade. I have seen this happen before. Namely back in, like, World of Warcraft, where you explain everything and you remove the magic. It is a fucking killer. Yeah, if you explain things, you have to at least leave one question. I think Xenoblade, by the way, product provided by Nintendo. I think X Definitive Edition Chapter 13 did a great thing by introducing heaven. And like in Chapter 13 at the ass end, they just introduce heaven as a concept. This is what I want to see continued, and I don't want to see it over-explained. I don't want to, like, hey, yeah, so this heaven thing, there was this guy about, like, 4,000 years ago. His name was Biff, right? Biff was a G. Dude, like, designed, using the conduit, this entire, like, separate pocket dimension. We call it heaven, and he managed to make it so all this... We don't want that. We want the mystery to remain. We want there to be answer for some things. We always want there to be something with just like, I don't know about that. Because that keeps the magic, that keeps the interesting thing, that keeps the intrigue. Yeah, midichlorians is a great example of this. Where, like, they tried to, like, say the Force back in Star Wars was just because a bunch of, like, microscopic, like, bacteria. Nobody wants this shit. Nobody wants the whimsy to be removed. Yeah, explain something and then replace that mystery with a new mystery. 1000%. You haven't factored in Smash Bros. Lore? Fuck, you're right. Where does Sephiroth come into this? People are still asking what's going on with Yelv, oh god. Yeah, that's a big ask in the modern day, Mike. Expecting people to have media literacy. And make thematic sense. 1000%. This is not saying you don't explain anything. This is saying that if you're going to explain A, B, C, and D, keep E as a mystery. That's what I'm saying. Because I think part of the charm of Xenoblade is like, what the fuck's a conduit? What the fuck is heaven? And like the joy of Xenoblade and like the beauty of it is like dealing with all the ramifications of these big mysteries and those ramifications having answers. But like the underlying thing, like the conduit. I'm kind of the opinion they should never explain fully what the conduit is. Just keep it a mystery. To some degree. You can reveal pieces of it, right? Like, oh, the ancient Sumerians, they actually had the conduit. They had it in stasis for a bit. They, like, removed part of its power and put in the Ares Prime. And then that called in the ghosts. Stuff like that. Keep this thing, in my opinion, mostly a mystery. But have the ramifications of what this thing does and what it means. Explain that. They've kind of already explained what the conduit is in Xenosaga. Okay, so what we're going to do, chat, is like the last like 2.5 minutes, we're just going to like delete like it's the Men in Black. Yeah, like pretend it didn't happen. Because apparently they already explained it in Xenosaga. The explanation doesn't remove the whimsy nor the charm. Okay, so we're back. Gonna make an N there. There we go. But the ramifications are wide-reaching. Yeah, it's like what I said before. If you're going to explain this, like if this is going to be A, and you're going to then explain B, C, and D, keep something a mystery. You don't want to fully explain everything away. Yeah, I don't think Xenoblade has ever come close to this, by the way. This is just I have PTSD from World of Warcraft and from other franchises doing this same shit. I don't think Monolith will do this, because I believe in them enough, and I trust in their process, and their writing, and their, like, overall pacing enough. It's just, that is, like, the overarching thing I hope they never cross. It's a meta-universe manifold, duh. Right. Oh, Esther, I already called for that earlier. I might make an entire video just, like, called hashtag Free Xenosaga. I might do that. Now, let's talk mechanics for Xenoblade 4. To, like, wrap up this stream. I think Chapter 13 is the blueprint. I think we'll get the storytelling of Chapter 13. In terms of pacing, in terms of, like, cutscene usage, in terms of, like, all that jazz, right? Then you made it suddenly white. But I think we get the gameplay of X. But, like, further evolved. And I think it'll be, like, an amalgamation of 3 with X. But, like, mostly X. It'd be, like, 40% 3, 60% X. Yeah. 1000%. Space combat. I think we get a space zone. It'll either be a bunch of satellites or it'll be like a bunch of meteors. As kind of its own thing. Yeah, I think what they're going to do. I don't think they will ever explain Nopon. I kind of hope they don't. I just want Nopon to be a universal constant. No matter what, we always end up with Nopon. My argument for space combat is that we just fucking had it in Chapter 13 with Volataris. Like, that's just a space zone with, like, a different coat of paint. 1000%. Replace the platforms in Volataris with asteroids. It's just a space zone. Straight up. Skulls. I am fully, completely, 100,000 million% convinced, more like 99%, that we're getting skulls again. Because I think they experiment with the Race Velg. For, like, other archetypes of skulls. And as we talked about earlier, this is what I think they're going to do with skulls. I think the natural evolution of the skull mechanic is 1, give enemies actual fucking mechanics. 2, rein in the numbers and, like, balance them better. But also, we go full Voltron. I can understand maybe, like, the Wii U and the Switch weren't powerful enough for, like, tech like this. But you may be going, Jmulls, how could they pull off Voltron? How could they pull off, like, combining all the skulls together into one giant skull? Well, you may not remember this, but it's just the interlink mechanic. Like, mechanically speaking. 2 smaller characters combining into one giant dude. I think they combine these, like, things. Photoshop Riku into some Mario image. Yes. I think you combine the interlink mechanic with the skull mechanic, and you get, like, giant robots. This is how it's just, like, you can do the skull mechanic again, but not make it feel like a rehash. Now, what do I mean by actually having mechanics? And this is where I really want Monolith to actually innovate, because I think it's, like, Xenoblade's weakest element. All enemies feel the fucking same. Now, disclaimer, I am not saying you turn Xenoblade into Souls. Okay? Now, would I mind that? No, but I have brain rot. I wouldn't mind that. I don't think that's the play to go for, though. What I think they need to do when it comes to enemy design is visually, there's good variety. Mechanically, they all play mostly the fucking same. It's like, realistically, am I changing my tactics at all? It's like the most I've done for that in X Definitive Edition is there was one tyrant that reflects ether damage, and I only did ether damage, so I had to swap my weapon to a lightning weapon. Huzzah. It's like in 2 and Bringer of Chaos, there were mechanics that I had to interact with that made the fights more memorable and everlasting. Because they gave that fight personality, and it had the enemy do something in response to what, or like, it had the enemy do something that I had to respond to. Instead of me just say, I have to make my number go big. Instead. X does this a little bit. There's a few mechanics in X when it comes to the appendage system. This is where we come into the ghosts. Also, it kind of goes to, like, them kind of, like, how do I word this? Leaning in this direction, and I think there's a good change. When it comes to the ghosts, to beat them, you have to target the orb. It's very fucking simple, right? Like, it is not the biggest, most interesting mechanic of all time, but it made the ghosts as enemies feel different. This is what I'm talking about. There are certain fights in X where it's like, if you break the missile silo on the boss in Chapter 10, they won't fire missiles at you anymore. That's really cool. The problem is, in X, the balance is fucking nutty. So it's like, the game is like, imagine this is skill / prep. It's like, to beat the game, you only really need to be around here. For like Chapter 12 boss, or like even Chapter 13, you really only need to be around here. But, by Chapter 5, you can be up here. If you know like halfway how to make a build. What I just want to see them do is like kind of what they did in Bringer of Chaos. Because it's not like Monolith have not pleased me in this way before. Bringer of Chaos is known as the hottest mode in Xenoblade 2. Because they make the numbers really small. At least that you do. And they fucking gut your actual, like, generation of chain attack. But there's another thing they do in Bringer of Chaos in Xenoblade 2 that I hope they lean into more. Bosses have mechanics. So, when you fight the 2 Nopon and the robot, that's a Nopon bot. It will fire missiles, right? And you have like and you have your guys over here, right? That's Rex. That's Pyra. And that's Nia, right? During the course of the fight, Big Dickhead will drop down a missile. You have to then change your target to the missile to blow it up, but because if you don't do that, the missile itself will blow up and doing a bunch of damage to everyone around it. Very simple stuff like that. Even Malos, in the Malos fight, he had various Monado mechanics, pretty much inspired by one. He had an ability, like, I think it was Monado Ida, where if you were around him, he would lock your ability to, like, change your blade. And stuff like that. He would, like, lock down either your driver or your blade. I forget which, it might have been both. So, the way you had to deal with him on Ring of Chaos was spot when he would use Monado Ida. And just get the fuck away from him. I don't think we need to bring, like, Radon-ass mechanics from Elden Ring into Xenoblade. I just think you need to have enemies have mechanics that I have to, like, actually, like, think about for at least 2 seconds. Also, I think this was a massive reason the balance in X is fucking shit. They need to revamp healing. This is something they need to completely revamp, go back to the drawing board in terms of how you actually heal over the course of a fight in the combat of Xenoblade 3 and X. In 3, you would have dropped pretty much down like an AoE, and then you'd like stand in the AoE. But the problem was, the AoE had like the width of a cube, right? It was like small as fuck. You could increase the size, which I would kind of be in favor of. You don't have to like make it massive or anything. Just make it a little bit big. The way you're supposed to heal an X is fucking stupid. You're supposed to hit your soul voices. And then there's some arts, like Irina has a few arts that can heal. But they heal like 5 HP. They're like pretty much nothing. You get a healer early on in X, by the way. It's Irina. You just may not realize it because she heals like fucking 5% of your HP over the course of a fight. But, like, your healer is Irina. Also, I think another character. Yeah, I think soul voices are a cool mechanic. It's just you cannot rely on it to be a main bulk of healing. This is why the game feels wholly unbalanced in my opinion. It's because you cannot balance around the idea that soul voice is your main healing. So you have to make the fight pretty much be either like a one-hit fiesta, or it's like, I ghost walk and nothing hits me. It's like the game becomes like one of this. It's like you eat, also sleep. Hope is a pretty good healer. Makes sense she'd be a healer. Hope has Yukuna culture, so is it worth it? It's a fun walk. Xenoblade 1 healing is just as worthless as X. At the end game, while you're actually playing through most of X, in my opinion, I don't think the healing's that bad. I use Shala quite a bit when I'm fighting tough enemies in 1, before I get, like, endgame builds. Because Shala, like, can actually heal pretty well. I just think all they have to do is, like, move the healing from soul voices into actual abilities. Move it to arts. I think 3 was on the right track for this. But, like, the way they chose to do it, which was just, like, put down an AoE and stand in it, we can be a bit more inspired by this, right? I think the way to do this, in my opinion, is you go back to Shala. Now, Xenoblade 1 fans will say Shala is the worst character to play as in all of Xenoblade, because she's fucking useless. She is, however, I think within her kit lies a beautiful direction for Xenoblade. Art-based healing. Now, we have to go really nerdy for this next part. Now, there are so many game developers out there that try to move away from... Fuck me. From what we call in the MMO scene, the Holy Trinity. Not the religious one. There's a different Holy Trinity we're talking about. Dude, can I get a bit more thickness, please? That's close enough. Wanted it thicker, but alright. The Holy Trinity in gaming. Who knows what the Holy Trinity in gaming is? It's damage, healing, tanking. This is the Holy Trinity. We go to mass in worship of this Trinity. When games try to move away from the Holy Trinity, the balance goes to shit 9 times out of 10. Yeah, Hylia got it. Rainbow got it. 3 has the Holy Trinity. Because the series needs more Trinities. Alright. So in my opinion, you need a consistent way to mitigate damage, hence the tanking, But when you take that damage, you need a consistent way to heal it. And then throughout all this, you need to do damage. When you have this remotely balanced and in a flow, I think it leads to better fight design. Yeah, I disagree with 3's tanking. 3's tanking fucking sucked in my opinion. Not because it wasn't good, but because it was boring as shit. They were just like, they just played as like less interesting damage dealers. Two also, okay, Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3 had the Trinity. Yeah, it's like in 2, like mostly in Xenoblade, it's like you can either dodge tank, I don't know why I made that an A, or you like man mode this shit, and you just you get like punched in the face repeatedly, and you just like shrug it off. Yeah, it's kind of funny how in 3, the tanking was kind of lame, but in 2, the healing was kind of lame. And then in 1, it's just like, lol, just use Melia. Or Riki. Riki was also like god tier in 1 for some reason. Thick mode or thin mode tanking? That's what yeah, okay. Thin mode. Thick. With multiple C's. I think this is something that Xenoblade truly needs to, like, hone in on. Right? Mainly this. Where was it? They need to get a good flow here. Because it leads to fight design that can be, like, by more people, reacted to more. Because when you fuck this up, and you have the balance be, like, way too far into one thing, it leads to one-dimensional fight design. Because if you have a game where healing is, like, done with either a really optimized build, and I'm talking about hyper-optimized, or inconsistent, it leads to damage profiles where your health goes from this to this. Or your health goes from this to this. It's the fucking same. So it's like either you don't bother with getting hit at all, or it's like every time you get hit, you feel as if you're going to be knocked over, torn apart, put back together again, only to be ripped apart into even smaller pieces. You want a good steady flow, in my opinion. Because this allows people to react. So if I go from that to like this, to this, to this, I can have the choice as the player at any step here to be like, do I want to heal now? What about now? What about now? What about now? You don't want to make healing or mitigating damage like either the highest top end or just like you don't have to worry about it at all. Because when you get this kind of balance, this allows you to put more design emphasis on the actual fight, because people don't have to just like optimize what they specifically do. They can allow themselves to react to what the fight's doing. And when you allow players to react to what the fight is doing, you can make the fights more memorable. For instance, can anyone tell me what in the flying shit, any mechanic that the first big Mobius guy you fought in 3 did? Can anyone tell me the name of a mechanic that dude did? And then also what the mechanic did. Do you see what I mean, though? Here's another example. The Z fight looks fucking incredible, doesn't it? Really cool. Giant head at the end of the world. You have like the forces of Kevis and Agnes all gearing up together to like unload on this dickhead. Really cool fight. I could not tell you a single thing this motherfucker did. This is the final fight of the game, by the way. This is what I mean. The vibes are great. They're immaculate. Same thing with Void. Buddy, I one-tapped him. Granted, I had an Ares 90, which I'm not, like, upset about, right? Like, I chose to get the Ares 90. But also, when I'm in, like, the Ares Prime... Here's a great example. Hold on.
You came.
This entire scene, I'm using the Ares Prime, right? I could not tell you. By the way, we're in a skull that is specifically designed for this encounter. Specifically. You can't be more powerful or less powerful now because you're in a predetermined skull. The level doesn't matter because the skull level is 50.
Your marrow, your souls.
I could not tell you in a fight that Monolith specifically designed for you to interact and fight in a certain way at a certain power level. I could not tell you a single thing this motherfucker did. We had to be taught after we fought this dude and we went back to the barracks to put in our holo figures. Someone had to tell us that, oh yeah, these like other holo figures I got were like ads that Void is supposed to spawn. I think in phase 1, but we like one-tapped them. So it's like what this becomes, and I think X is a great microcosm of this bigger example, of this bigger problem. I'm going to go in more detail about this in tomorrow's video, in the hot take video, because someone talked about this. X is just like the other end of the spectrum. In Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3, I have the exact same fight design problem outside of like Bringer of Chaos in 2. But the problem is, either fights are a massive slog of HP where you're just waiting for the health bar to fucking drain, or you do what I did. It's like either you're waiting 5 minutes for the health bar to drain, or you do this. Both ends of the spectrum are bad. Now, here, rule of cool. Void looks incredible in my opinion. Great parallels to Z. I love the song going on. I love the fact we're in the Ares Prime with our boys Lao and Al on each of our shoulder going like, yeah, fuck his shit up. Dude's throwing galaxies at us, but like they do 5 points of damage, so who cares? This is the thing. This is a great... Okay, let's not have a flashbang scene here. This is like a great microcosm of what I'm saying they need to move away from in design when it comes to 4. You want these fights to be memorable, not just because of like how it looks or the story leading up to them. You want the fight itself to feel good because it's a video game at the end of the day. It's like, this shit is really cool. Buddy, my HP is barely moved. And like, I'm also learning how to play as the Ares Prime right now. So it's like, this is the problem. You either get like Slash Fest, where it's like, I am the god of death and carnage and destruction. All shall kneel before me in my awesome presence. Everything will be ripped apart. I can fire one Agashira beam and rip apart a world if I so choose, if it so fits my fancy. Or it's like I'm hitting a guy with my flaccid penis. There's like no in between. You want to find that like nice middle ground. I think X actually kind of hits that middle ground rather early on, but the moment any build comes online, it immediately goes to like a Slash Fest. can nuke you with a big attack, but other than that, there's not much. I didn't even remember that. For my level 50 skill, I imagine that to be the case. True, nice. I think Void second phase is meant to be free. I agree, but, like, this is the problem, because it makes Void, the actual fight, not memorable. I will remember this fight, not for the gameplay. I should never think of that for a video game. Full stop, in my opinion. I can't understand the stats in X. It's because the Ares 90 is a completion bonus. This does not come through in X Definitive Edition. The original game ends in Chapter 12. So when you beat Chapter 12, you've beaten the game, and then you can unlock the Ares 90. After a bunch of work. And when you get the Ares 90, it's like, dude, you beat the game, you worked your ass off to get this thing, go have fun with this one-shot machine. It's essentially a completion bonus. But in X Definitive Edition, the game keeps going on to Chapter 13, so you can unlock the Ares 90, and you're just like this god of death. Xenoblade is an interactive movie. I get that, and I love a good cutscene, right? I'm just saying, I love the gameplay flow of Xenoblade. It's just, it's like one half step away in like one key area from being perfection. Or being like really damn good, in my opinion. And I do think like this and like tutorials are like the two big things holding Xenoblade back in terms of popularity. I've been on this issue. I'm going to hop on this issue for like 2 years until we get more Xenoblade news. Because I want to see this franchise grow because I love it so much. Is Ares 90 busted? Yes. With a bunch of augments. Yeah, you can't like one-shot super bosses, but you can like not one-shot 99% of the game. Also, bear in mind, like they struck this balance pretty well before. It's like Bringer of Chaos. The problem with 2 is that difficulty goes out the fucking window the moment you know how chain attacks work. Which is the problem with Xenoblade mechanics, in my opinion. It's like, it's why I like Overdrive so much. It's because it keeps the flow of combat going. Because if I'm doing an Overdrive, the boss can still move. I have to get good at Overdrive to become really powerful with it, and you can become really powerful with it. But the boss can still do things, right? But in Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3, when I do a chain attack, that boss is going to stay there, bend over, and take that shit. Right? Like, it's not going to have any impact on me. It's going to take all of my damage. I put up all those elemental orbs on that boss in Xenoblade 2. You best believe I'm popping that shit for, like, max damage. Chain attacks are meant to be OP, exactly. But it's also exactly why they had to limit chain attacks so much in Bringer of Chaos. But I also don't think, in my opinion, that it's necessarily good design on the whole to limit the mechanic that's the most fun and interesting in the game simply because it's too powerful. Now, granted, Xenoblade 2 has, like, modifiers in the options to, like, change this shit. But the problem is, it's just, like, the delta of what it does. It's like, you either do, like, nothing with a chain attack if you don't know how it works, or, like, it makes every fight a rollover. And it's just like, I have to get the chain attack. The moment I get the chain attack, though, it's over. Frame 1, it's gone. It's done. 100 to 0, that's pretty much the health bar. I'm not saying you remove chain attacks. One, I think you should just stick with Overdrive because I think Overdrive is more fun, my opinion. I still think chain attacks can work. It's just, I think when you have them designed in such a way to where they can just, if you get it right, which is not that hard to learn, if you get them right, you can do, like, the max damage you can physically do in the game. That's where you run into a bit of an issue where it, like, limits fight design, in my opinion. Because it's either you have to, like, neutralize the main fun mechanic of 2, of 1, and of 3. Or you get to a point where you just never fucking use the thing. Or it's like, we're using this, and it's rolling over the entire game. We need to find a balance. And I think that's going to be Monolith's greatest hurdle, because I am not doubting them at all when it comes to like story stuff, world stuff, actual game mechanics when it comes to 4. I'm fully on board, I fully believe in them, I fully trust them, right? It's just, I think the next step this franchise needs to go is get more interesting and fun and memorable fight design, and there's multiple ways to get there. I've only laid out a couple of ways to do that. But it's like, I think this is a conversation that needs to happen, and a direction shift needs to happen when it comes to the balancing of Xenoblade mechanics to lend themselves more to still being fun and interesting, and having those elements of strategy, which I don't think the game should necessarily shy away from, but you want to make the fights memorable in some shape, form, or fashion. You don't need to make them like Elden Ring fights or anything like that, but you need the fights to be memorable from a gameplay perspective, in my opinion. Well, the elemental orbs are a lot better than TP chain in Xenoblade 3. I agree. Of the chain attacks from 1, 2, and 3, 2 is my favorite. And I think this, I don't know the veracity, but I remember someone talking about earlier how they said they want to change the gameplay up a bit, going into the next like future of Xenoblade. I think this is the area to which you do it. Because I think Skells as a concept are fucking incredible, dude. Like, being able to go in and out of my own personal customized robot. I can customize the various weapon parts on it. I can tackle the world by myself on my own 2 feet, or go in my giant fucking robot and gear out my party members with giant fucking robots. This is awesome, dude. You do not want to shy away from that. Having said that, we need to find a way to make the fight design still interesting, to accommodate these really fun and interesting and cool mechanics. I'd rather have overdrive and scales removed entirely. I completely disagree. I think they're the best mechanics in all of Xenoblade mechanically. I don't think scales necessarily are perfect in X. I don't think the answer is to straight up remove them. It's to get the pacing better so you're not hitting 1 aught every 15 fucking seconds. It's like, 1, just get quick cooldown online for like scales way earlier on. I don't know why the fuck they locked that off to chapter 13 completion. Get that shit online immediately. And you just need to balance them better. I don't think the answer is to remove a really cool and fun gameplay mechanic just because the first iteration may not have been perfect. You have to get it right. You have to balance and iterate. Well, that's the thing. You unlock quick cooldown later after chapter 13. It's like the only thing quick cooldown doesn't really work with are like the Omega hitters, like Akashura Cannon. It's just you increase the pace, which is something I think they should do in the future, by the way. Speed up the pace of combat. Quick cooldown's a great way to do that. Just overall, increase the pace of combat. Also, my opinion... No, it wasn't working controller, though. I think you just need to increase the flow of combat and balance around it. Could be even better than, because we'll be exploring a bigger world in Xenoblade 4. Absolutely. I think we'll get like more variations of skills like Grace Felk. Also, Monolith, for the love of fucking Christ, let us customize every skill's weapon components for the most part. It's like, I really want to use the Race Felk. That shit is non-viable. I haven't tried the Race Felk Lord, but like, even early on. It's so cool. But it's like, please. Scale, art, recharge, and execution need to be 1,000 times faster in general. To be honest, I 1,000% agree with you, Hylia. You speed that up, you change the numbers around a bit to accommodate for that. There's a bunch of ways to go about doing this. I think they got, like, the bones. They have, like, a working skeleton here. They just need to flesh it out and make it more enjoyable. And, like, better balanced. It's barely usable. Yeah, but, like, the premise of quick cooldown on skulls is still a good one, and that should have been, like, online immediately, in my opinion. And for, like, Xenoblade 4, because we're almost certainly getting the skull mechanic back, in my opinion. Quick cooldown needs to come online immediately. It's too good of a mechanic. That, or you just need to, like, bake in faster speeds across the board, baseline into the game. Should be casually friendly, in my opinion. 1,000% Hylia. I'm right there with you. I think there should be difficulty options. Give me an easy, normal, hard mode. And stuff like that for Xenoblade. This shit is not Souls, right? And like Souls, I can make the argument not to do it. This is not that kind of game. And I didn't have any idea what to get. I think there's an element to that they can also address, and that is the acquisition of skill pots and gear and stuff like that in general, because it's super, like, unfriendly when it comes to experimentation, because they're super expensive and time-consuming to get pots for. They should, like, rein that in for the most part and give you, like, a decent build you can kind of, like, mix and match with various components. Think Armored Core in this regard, in my opinion. Allow me to buy a lot of the components, not with, like, thumbable resources. That's just a grind. No one wants to do that shit. Let me buy it with, like, money, because there's no fucking point for money in this game at some... Like, you hit a point in Xenoblade X where money becomes, like, not an issue. Let me buy these skill pots with money so I can, like, experiment with different pots. And, like, fuck around with different builds without having to, like, spend so much of my life grinding for components. That is an element I think they should also address. I do plan to, is not if I can get my hands on one. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Hylia. I want a very easy mode, then like a normal mode, then like a hard mode, and then like a Bringer of Chaos. Like, I want my balls to be put into a blender on Crush Ice. Also, for the love of God, Nintendo, Monolith, I don't know who I need to talk to for this. So, expert mode. Why wasn't that in X? Out of curiosity, right? Why wasn't expert mode in Xenoblade X Definitive Edition? I don't mind being able to, like, grossly overlevel. That's part of the charm of an RPG, in my opinion. Just give me expert mode. For the love of God. That's all I'm asking for. Just give me expert mode so I can adjust my level to what I want it to be for a fight. There's, like, a lot of ways to take essentially the bones and, like, the main elements of, like, 3's combat and X. You combine them, and with a few tinks and twinks and stuff like that, make it, like, 15 times more engaging and fun. It's like, I didn't mind not having expert mode, because the balance in this game is just, like, to me, the charm and the joy is just, like, getting to a point where I'm a god of death killing everything. I got to that point, so I was enjoying myself. However, I would enjoy myself more if the fights were good. I didn't care about, like, being accurately leveled, because I knew the fights themselves were going to be a slog if I was. So I'd rather just, like, obliterate them. It's like a, you want to fuck me, I'd rather fuck you kind of deal, right? 3 should have also allowed the player to level down. I think they do, but you have to, like, beat the game to unlock expert mode, which is fucking stupid. Yeah, Monolith, just do what Xenoblade 1 did. Like, 1 Definitive Edition had this shit right out the bag. Just let me level down wherever I want, just from the menu. Don't make me go to an inn to do this shit, like in Xenoblade 2. That's dumb. Just let me do it from the menu. Oh, also, by the way, Monolith, from me to you, please, you know what? I'm bending knee IRL for this. Hold on. Fat guy kneels IRL. Alright, I'm on bended knee. Monolith, from me to you, right? Please keep the fashion system from X Definitive Edition for every Xenoblade entry going into the future. And if we ever do a Xenoblade 2 Definitive Edition, because I know you guys like money, and you will do it at some point, for the love of God, please add the fashion system to Xenoblade 2 and a bunch of outfits. Please. Thank you for your time. The lack of cosmetic weapons. Oh yeah, also add, like, weapons to fashion, because what the fuck. Stop patching out the fast XP glitches. Xenoblade 1 DE fashion system. It's kind of the same as X's, isn't it? I mean, X Definitive Edition. The fashion system is so peak in Xenoblade X. It's so good, isn't it? It's like, I love the fact that, like, I could customize, like, Elma to always have her, like, her basic gear on, because I like that look for her. But for, like, Lynn, I like being able to add the personality where it's like she really likes giant robots and mechs, so I gave her a mech suit and a DBZ scouter. I just thought it fit the character. I like that. I like being able to make my guy have, like, a black, like, tank top, a robotic arm, and a long sword with eyeglasses. I mean, sunglasses. It was so good. Or, like, it creates moments like this, where I'm just, like, gushing everywhere, right? It's like I'm in Al's outfit, but a better color. I got the sunglasses on. I got the Mallows hair. I'm looking dead at the camera, and I'm saying, try me. It's so peak. I love that kind of stuff. Yeah, we added so much personality on Doug and made him, like, an infinitely more memorable character for us in our playthrough just by adding, like, cat ears on him. We added cat ears on Doug, and it was the funniest thing ever to us. To me, at least. Like, Yelv for us, I knew Yelv all the time, because Yelv was the guy I never put pants on. My boy's cock was just swinging in the wind. The entire time. It's like, the DBZ scout on Lynn works perfect. We put, like, the Luna tier from Nier Automata on Al. I didn't touch Gwen's outfit because fuck Gwen. We have the cat ears on Doug, which is just immaculate. It's like, personally, some people will say the characters of X are their least favorite. For me, part of the reason I like them so much is because of the memories we made together with them. And just the little personality we're able to give them, like, cat ears on Doug, or just, like, farming for the set for Alma, so she had a set from the post-credit scene. Or, like, you could even give everyone washboard abs like L here if you got his outfit, because the abs are actually part of the outfit, funnily enough. They're fake. Half the time, characters were just butt naked because I took their gear and put it on someone else and forgot to give them fashion gear. By the way, Monolith, don't think I didn't spot this. Why do the male MCs just have a raging hot on here? Why are we bricked up? I'm just asking the questions, right? Like, why? Oh yeah, I put, like, Irina in Neil Nail's outfit. And I had, like, Hope in, like, that suit jacket with no undershirt. It's like, in an RPG, customization and little, like, bits of, like, personality you can implant on a character like that can go a long way. bricked up for that Ares Prime. Yeah, we're bricked up from this scene. We just, like, save humanity by ourselves because we're just that guy.
All units, return to base.
We pull an Al from the beginning of the game. Everyone watching us as we dive for it. It's so good, dude! Oh, I love this scene so much.
Get back here!
God, it's so good.
Please to hurry.
I rewatched this cutscene so much.
Initiate jump.
Maybe this is a hot take. I'm kind of warming up to the new Vandom voice. In a regular scale, no less. Yeah, we did all this shit in like a regular basic bitch scale. We didn't even use my Ares 90. Buddy, I would annihilate all of these like DMAT events if it was in my Ares 90. One Agashira cannon, it's gone. Alright, my throat's going away, by the way. Also, we need to stream a long time tomorrow because there's a new game, Expedition 33, that comes out, and I really want to play it. It's like an old school Final Fantasy, but if it was really French. It looks incredible. It's on my Game of the Year watch. So, I kind of went 2 hours over what I wanted to do. Them's the breaks, though, when you come to this channel for Xenoblade reactions and, like, theory crafting. I hope you all had fun. I had a ton of fun. I had so much fun with this. I think my YouTube page, by the way, on my browser is, like, blocked, so I don't know if I can do my usual, like, message and chat. But thank you all for tuning in. My pleasure making the video and the stream. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. We may do more of these, by the way, because there's still a lot to talk about. Take care, Hylia. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, John, Hylia, Izanami, Iosuren, Rusty, Fabuki, Engriz, Games, Esther, Neo, Kopi, Sean, Infin, Exalted, Games. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Stay safe. Have a great day. Awesome Jim as well. Tomorrow, by the way, Xenoblade X hot takes. Prepare. Thank you, Sebastian and Awesome Jim. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Highly and Infun. And we got 2 years of lore crafting to do, Jmulls. 1000%. Good night, Whimsy. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.